Live from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee, it's the NASCAR Winston Cup Bud 500. And the weather is absolutely beautiful here in Northeast Tennessee. Temperature 69 degrees, skies are clear, and there is no chance of rain. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Bristol International Raceway. Now, we've always had a special arrangement with Bristol International Raceway, and the announcement earlier tonight that we will televise races into the 21st century here, and we couldn't be happier about that. Now let's talk about tonight's race. The quest for the Cup standing shows us that Davey Allison is 37 points behind the leader in the quest for the Cup standings, Bill Elliott. Harry Gant is third, Alan Kulwicki fourth, and Mark Martin is fifth. Now, the standings in the Busch Grand National Division were jumbled last night after their race here, and the Winston Cup standings could do the same tonight. The reason is because the drivers are competing on a surface that is totally foreign to them. For more on that, let's go to Pit Road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Bob, and hello, everyone. You know, it took a lot of courage and over $750,000 for Bristol International Raceway promoter Larry Carrier to turn the world's fastest half-mile facility into a concrete arena. But after 3 paving jobs, which were not to his satisfaction, in fact, the pavement began to come apart, he said, I'm going to put concrete down. And many drivers believe that it's the wave of the future. 250 laps last night. The surface may be a little bit rough, but it didn't come apart. That's exactly what they wanted. This track will be one of the best, if not already one of the best, in America when it comes to 2- and 3-wide racing in years to come. But tonight, in the early laps, it may be a little bit rough. Roughness and some vibration may not bother some drivers, but one driver who's been injured, remember, that vibration could be a problem. And he's standing by with John Kernan.
Jerry, earlier this week, Davey Allison underwent a couple of surgical procedures on his wrist. They removed one of the pins. Davey, you've had a couple of days to practice here, run some laps, feel the vibrations. How does the wrist feel?
Everything feels good right now, John. Haven't had any problems in practice at all. We did let Bobby Hillin go ahead and make a few laps just in case we ran into a problem during the race, but the outlook right now is to go ahead and run all 500 laps.
Davey Allison planning to tough it out tonight, guys, running all 500 laps. You know, this racetrack's always been physically demanding on the drivers, maybe even more so now, maybe also even more so mechanically demanding.
John, I think it is going to be the toughest we've ever seen here tonight, on the drivers especially, because these cars are really getting a great grip on the concrete, and it's going to be trying to throw those drivers out the right side net. It's going to be tough.
It really is going to be physically tough as well as mentally tough on them. You know, Benny, I drove this racetrack when the banking was 22 degrees. I thought it was tough back then, but you've driven it since they rebanked it to 36 degrees now.
I'm telling you, it kills your neck. You just try to throw your head out the right side, out the right window, and you're trying to hold your neck up. It really hurts the neck.
I'll tell you, it's not only tough on the race drivers, it's tough on the race cars, too. We'll see teams that have a lot of parts laid out, chassis parts, figuring that they might break here tonight because of the roughness. Could be even springs, but more than likely A-frames or steering parts and things of that nature. They'll be prepared for it, but the chassis of the race car does take a beating.
All that. One more thing we've got to talk about. Tonight, for the first time, they're using the radial tire, and that tire is really hooking up, getting a great grip. It's going to be an exciting evening.
There are a lot of factors to deal with here in the next 3.5 hours as the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers prepare to go 500 laps on this very tight and very demanding half-mile racetrack at Bristol International Raceway. Our Speed World coverage of the Bud 500 is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Fram Oil Filters. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Well, the engines have been fired, and in just a moment, we'll come back and introduce the 32 drivers that will challenge this racetrack tonight at Bristol, Tennessee. We'll be right back. The exciting Gillette Halfway Challenge contest is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway point will win $10,000, and a fan at home will have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the contest for this event and your entry is selected and you're called at home, you must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge. If you want to enter the contest for our next event, which is the Mountain Dew Southern 500 at Darlington, write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33731, 2246. You must be 18 years of age or older, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, September 5th to be eligible for next week's Gillette Halfway Challenge. Well, there are the cars lined up ready to go, and here is the die-hard starting lineup. A new event record from Ernie Irvan, 120.535. He'll start on the pole in the number 4 Kodak Film Chevrolet. Ricky Rudd will start alongside in the number 5 Tide Chevrolet. Going to row number 2, it's Brett Bodine in the number 26 Quaker State Ford, flanked by the Valvoline Ford number 6, driven by Mark Martin. Alan Kulwicki, the defending champion, going for 3 in a row tonight, and the Hooters Ford will start in 5th position in car 7. Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet starts from 6th position. Going to row number 4 now, it's Davey Allison, the Haviland Ford, car number 28, and the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, car number 2, driven by Rusty Wallace. The 5th row consists of Darrell Waltrip in the Western Auto Chevrolet, car number 17, and Dick Trickle. The 6th row, Jeff Bodine and Jimmy Hensley. In row number 7, it's Hut Strickland and Dale Jarrett. Morgan Shepherd and Harry Gant make up row number 8. The 9th row, Derry Cope and Terry Labonte. Bill Elliott and Dave Marcus start in row number 10. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, notice that Winston Cup defending champion Dale Earnhardt back in the inside of row number 12, and the rest of the field.
Some awfully good cars starting way back in the field here, Bob, and that means that they're pitting on the backstretch, which normally is a disadvantage. Bill Elliott's back there, and Dale Earnhardt, as a result, beating the champion. He gets to pit on the front stretch, but the first 17 in qualifying pitting on the front stretch, and Dale Earnhardt.
And we take a look a little bit more closely at this racetrack. It's 0.533 miles in length, 120.5 the pole speed, time 15.9 seconds. 500 laps we go, and the field is separated by just about 3/4 of a second. Bristol International Raceway, as Ned indicated, has pits both on the front and on the back. The turns are banked at 36 degrees, and the trouble spots are going to be entering turn number 1 and coming out of turn number 2. Those are the places that we will be watching as they go into and out of the corners. The 36 degrees of banking, and on the straightaways, the banking is at 16 degrees.
Very, very steeply banked racetrack. In cars, Jimmy Hensley, looking out the back of Jimmy Hensley's car. This is Dale Jarrett, Interstate Battery car. Also a camera tonight in Morgan Shepherd Citgo Ford. And also we're riding along with Dick Trickle in the Snickers Ford.
Well, that's a great shot. You can see the yellow light is still on, and Trickle will be carrying the Ford telemetry that we will go to as the race progresses.
I was watching that telemetry today down in the trailer. You know how much speed they get up to, Ned, down the straightaway?
How fast?
135 miles an hour, and we're going green.
Here's the green flag. The Bud 500 is on. Got through the first lap without a problem. The leader is Ernie Irvan, and this is looking back from Hensley's car to Morgan Shepherd. And now back out of Morgan Shepherd's car and back to Derry Cope.
And these cars are really zinging around this racetrack. I'm talking about 135 miles an hour down the straightaway. The slowest speed was like 106 miles per hour. Here it is. What a great picture.
No kidding. From high overhead in our helicopter. Looks like a video game.
Boy, everybody got in single file as quickly as they could because the inside groove is the place to be. The only car running on the outside there, too, Harry Gant. Now he's going to get back in line. He's running back at about the 18th position. Jimmy Spencer was out there as well. He's getting back in single file now, too. The low groove is going to be the place to be for a while, Bob.
Ernie Irvan, the leader of the race. Ricky Rudd is running second, then Brett Bodine, Mark Martin, Alan Kulwicki, Ken Schrader, Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Darrell Waltrip. And the Chevrolets of Irvan and Rudd now pulling away just a little bit from Bodine in the Ford. Here is Morgan Shepherd that is caught on the outside of the racetrack and is losing positions. There's Dale Jarrett going to the inside, and Terry Labonte will try to.
Yeah, he tried to get, and he did get back down in front of Labonte. Thanks, Labonte just backed off and let him get in there because the train was about to go by.
Go forward. Now that's, oh, and a crash crash.
Ernie
Irvan has crashed. He has spun on the backstretch and made contact with the inside pit wall.
And he can't get going until all this traffic goes by. But he is going to get in lap, but we can't see how much damage there is to the car. He made some contact with the right side. Man, oh man.
What a development this is, huh?
The left side of the car looks pretty good, fellas, as he comes around. Take a look and see what happened.
Just coming off the second corner, and around it goes. Ricky Rudd not within a car length or two of the Kodak Film Chevrolet, and he goes down and hits the wall pretty good with that right side, Ned.
Bob, you said that going into the turns coming off would be the trouble spots. They say that it's somewhat washboarded coming off of that second turn. It's sort of like when you go across the railroad tracks in a passenger car, and sometimes the traction just breaks loose for you.
Jeff Gordon crashed there last night in the Busch Grand National event, and now it's the leader and pole sitter, Ernie Irvan. We're under caution for the first time. Has just taken the green flag for resumption of competition. Ricky Rudd is now the leader, and while all this is going on, Ernie Irvan is on pit road. The crew continues to work on that car. Ernie Irvan on pit road after an early crash. Jerry Punch is there.
He came in to change right side tires, guys, and apparently the tie rod in the right front is broken. They're going to have to take the Kodak Chevrolet behind the wall and fix it. We're going to lose a lot of valuable time behind the wall here early at Bristol.
Ernie Irvan had moved up so well in the Winston Cup point standings all the way to 7th, but this is certainly going to be a setback toward his march to the front.
Well, that's exactly what Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, Harry Gant, Alan Kowicki don't want to happen tonight, is have problems early in the race like Ernie Irvan, because he can get killed in the point standings, not only this race, but all the races remaining the rest of the year.
This is the first of the second half.
And 22 car spins on the back straightaway. He's going down and he misses the wall.
Just missed it. Sterling Marlin spins in almost the same portion of the racetrack.
Ooh, he's going to come right out. Well, he stayed down on the inside, so he's coming out in front of the leaders. No yellow flag, Bob. He didn't bother anything.
He got it turned around, and he too just comes off the second corner and without being touched or without any help at all, loses it and spins down the backstretch.
Wow. I mean, these guys are the best race car drivers in the world, and that's 2 in 15 laps, man.
Well, Sterling Marlin is back up to speed. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it's still Ricky Rudd leading.
That's Derek Cope, Bud Strickland trying to get by Sterling Marlin now, and Derek's going to go on the outside.
Well, they don't really want to go on the outside, but Sterling Marlin, he knows he's supposed to be down on the inside, so he'll get out of their way now and let them go by on the outside, but they don't like that outside group.
And John Kernan has a report on Sterling Marlin.
Guys, just about an hour before the race, I was talking with Sterling Marlin. I asked him about the bumps out on the racetrack. He said he was having a little bit of problem coming off of the corners, especially with the radial tires. He said it felt like the car, the rear end, really wanted to kick around on him, and apparently that is what happened just a few moments ago.
Perhaps with both him and Ernie Irvan, who spun in the same portion of the racetrack. Up front, it is Ricky Rudd leading this race.
There we see, we're still watching Sterling Marlin. Oh, he and Dale Jarrett all together, and both of them spin down in turn 1. Kyle Petty goes around. Ooh.
Well, Jarrett hit the wall. He didn't spin completely around. He kept going.
Action-packed Bristol International Raceway, fans.
And now the caution flag is out.
Marlin has some damage to the rear end of that car. He's going to go to his pit on the backstretch. Everybody else that was involved kept going.
And I think he's the only car that lost a lap.
Well, some action here in the first 21 laps, and here's how it happened.
Well, Sterling moved down for other drivers going into the turn to let them pass on the outside, and he got a little bit wobbly going into the turn, went up into Jarrett. You see Jarrett gets on the outside wall there, does some damage to the right rear of his car, and then Kyle Petty comes in there and spins around.
Morgan Shepherd narrowly avoided, and so did Jimmy Spencer to the bottom of the racetrack.
Kyle Petty made some contact, but Sterling Marlin loses control, Ned, just as he starts in the corner. See, he loses the back end just as he goes in the corner. Now we see Dale Jarrett. He made a little bit of contact, but I don't think the contact that Kyle Petty made is going to hurt anything.
Jarrett, meanwhile, has some flat rubber on the left side of that car. Here's Jerry Punch once again with an update on Ernie.
Problem's a little more severe than initially assessed here. Apparently the right lower A-frame is broken. They're worried about the spindle and the tie rod as they still work on the Kodak Chevrolet behind the wall. Ernie sitting in the car rather patiently. Ernie, what happened out there?
Well, you know, the guys gave me a good race car, and I just screwed up, got a little loose coming off too, and just got out from under me.
One of a series of problems early in the race here at Bristol, but a lot of honesty from a young driver, Ernie Irvan. Let's go to the backstretch where John Kernan is standing by in the Kyle Petty pit. John?
Kyle Petty has just changed right side tires. They sent him back out on the racetrack. I'm sure they'll be back in. Michael Waltrip is also in for tire change as well. Don't see any damage on the left side of Michael's car. Mark Martin is also on pit road. Jerry?
And Mark Martin brings his car down pit road. He is leaving now. The Valvoline crew having completed their work. Dale Jarrett likewise headed back to turn one. So some wild action in the early laps here at Bristol International Raceway. We're in the early laps here. 23 laps to be exact complete in the Budweiser 500. Back to more from Bristol after this. Stay with us.
Okay. Do you think Sterling got loose and down in the corner, got the thing loose and had to go up the hill to catch him and run the side of Paul Gold?
That pink time that he's
We're inside Dick Trickle's car looking back on the crash that just occurred. Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. You can see them making contact, heading up the wall, banging off of it, and now we are going back to green flag competition.
Ricky Rudd takes off. Dale Jarrett was on the inside. He pulled up alongside Rudd, but I don't think he can do that under the NASCAR rules, so he's now falling back to the end of the pack.
Rudd leads over Brett Bodine, Alan Kulwicki, Schrader, Allison, and then Waltrip, the first six.
Mark Martin, who was running, what, third in the race before that, made a couple of pit stops. Jerry Punch, you have any idea what was going on down there?
They had some ductwork dragging from beneath the car, and NASCAR black ladder brought them back in and made them power out that duct up underneath the car so it wouldn't come loose, but otherwise the car is mechanically intact.
Very good. But he lost some valuable track position.
He's running well toward the back of the pack, trying to come back up through, but he has a long way to go. He's about a half a lap behind the leader as we take a look at the Fram Field summary. Ernie Irvan is still behind the wall and work going on the Kodak Film Chevrolet as Ricky Rudd leads after 30 laps. Here's Mark Martin and Kyle Petty back in the back of the pack trying to work up. They just passed Richard Petty.
And we can see the damage to the left rear of Kyle Petty's car where he backed into Sterling Marlin.
And we get a report from John Kernan.
Bob, Kyle Petty, when he came in, they had to come in 3 times under that caution. I'm not sure that they got everything fixed, but he had a lot of damage on the left rear. The trunk lid was pushed up. As a result, the spoiler on the rear end, which is in 2 pieces, the left side was bent up just a little bit farther, the degrees, than the right side. They had to beat that down and also pull a lot of the sheet metal out of the way.
The winner at Watkins Glen having troubles here in the early going. There is Alan Kulwicki and Ken Schrader, along with Davey Allison and Darrell Waltrip. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And Kulwicki's having some problems getting around the racetrack right now, but Schrader does not have any problems at all. Getting through the corners extremely well in that Kodiak Chevrolet.
And further back, there's Derek Cope leading a string of cars that also includes Dick Trickle and Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt and Harry Gant.
You can see the back end of Cope's car kick out just a little bit in the turns, but boy, he's getting off of the turns well. Look how much he pulled Trickle coming off of that turn.
But right here is where his car kicked out a little bit the last time. Looks like he's going to get off of there okay this time.
12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th is what we're watching.
Harry Gant moved in the back of that pack.
Right behind Gant is the 66 car.
Jimmy Hensley.
And here's our in-car camera in Hensley's car as he has all this action right ahead of him.
Harry Gant looked like he was going to try to go by Dale Earnhardt. He's going to try it again on the inside. And he makes it. He makes the pass, and Earnhardt quickly pulls down to the inside of the racetrack to get to that preferred groove. Here comes Trickle on the inside of Cope.
Bill Elliott's right behind Trickle. Trickle and Cope go in side by side and run that way all the way through the corner. Now down the backstretch, it is Trickle that pulls ahead.
Yeah, Cope made a pretty good corner through 1 and 2 on the outside, but
the speed up there is just not quite as good as it is down on the low groove. Now NASCAR put some cones above the low groove this afternoon and made them run for quite a while up there to try to work that groove in. But the lap speeds were almost a second slower up there than they were down in the bottom groove.
And we see Kobe just cannot go. He's drifting back. He's lost about 4 or 5 spots quickly.
Just a perfect example of how you don't want that outside line. Jimmy Spencer is joining this fight here in that number 20 car.
First Winston Cup race Spencer has run in quite a while. Boy, Cope is out there. He just can't get back down.
Well, that's a great shot. It gives you an idea of the roughness of the surface of this track. The drivers have their hands full tonight for the next 450 laps.
Looks like Spencer trying to pick on our camera.
Looks to the outside, but nope, knows that that's not the place to be.
Bobby Hamilton right behind that group to come into an Oldsmobile, and it is an Oldsmobile.
Now he goes inside, and he makes the pass work. Oh, and almost loses it, and so does Bobby Hamilton.
He'll make some contact over there, but Hensley gives him some room, fortunately. There's Dave Marcus in the Kellogg's car, first race in that car 41.
Now you will see Dave's regular mount, the 71 in tonight's race, and that's being driven by Jim Sauter, but Dave Marcus is in the Hedrick car, the 41 machine that has been driven most of the year by Greg Sachs.
I never see Mark Martin, who had that brake duct dragging, as Jerry Punch reported, had to make a pit stop, go all the way to the end of the field, trying desperately to get back to the front. But it's a struggle this early in the race to get through this traffic.
Looking back from Morgan Shepherd's car to Mark Martin. Morgan running 20th. Mark Martin is 21st.
Al Petty pulls up right on the back bumper, and Ted Musgrave, the Jasper engine car, pulls over and lets these faster cars go by because he realized these cars are much faster than he is.
And as they do that, use that second groove, Benny, they'll eventually get it, I believe, to where they'll be able to run up there.
Yeah, I would think after the last half of the race, Ned, we'll see some good side-by-side racing.
Ricky Rudd, the leader of the race in the Tide Chevrolet, car number 5, is approaching some slower traffic. He's already put a lap on Jim Sauter, and now the next to be passed will be Jimmy Means, then Wally Dallenbach and Richard Petty. There's the Brett Bodine, number 26, and Kowicki's number 7 as they run second and third. And we have completed the first 50 laps of this 500 lapper here at Bristol. And has seen a lot of action in the first 50 laps and promises a lot more. The sun begins to go down behind the mountain. The lights begin to show their stuff, and the Winston Cup drivers are continuing to battle it out in the Bud 500. We'll be right back. Yeah, I think we've covered everything adequately so far.
guys that look like are doing pretty good, Neil, is Davey, Darrell, and Jeff Bodine. They've caught the radar. Good. Good.
At Bristol International Raceway, we're riding in Dick Trickle's number 8 Snickers Ford, and here is the telemetry. Watch the RPMs in the upper right and the speed up to 129.
Rusty Wallace directly in front of him. Go down the front straightaway, 131 miles per hour.
Well, that's fast on a half-a-mile track.
It sure is. Let's see how slow he gets down in the corner. 116, 105, 197 miles per hour. So this afternoon, with fresh tires on, 105 miles per hour. So we can see how the tires are slowing down. And Rusty looks like he's holding Trickle up just a little bit, but Trickle just can't seem to get the inside position. He may have it now.
Now Rusty is 9th, Trickle 10th. Let's see if he can pick up the 9th position. Trickle, as they go into turn 1, he will because of the lower field. Trickle is now 9th. And Rusty slides up the racetrack and loses not only 1 but 2 positions as Dale Earnhardt now takes 1 away. Meanwhile, back 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, here's Bodine, Kowicki, and Schrader.
Don't forget about 5th and 6th. There's Davey Allison 5th, Jeff Bodine in 6th.
Now these guys are almost a half straightaway behind the leader, Ricky Rudd.
All of a sudden, Rudd is just absolutely pulling away.
Well, it's one thing that's certain he's running very well, but another thing that works to his advantage when he catches the lamp traffic, of course, they're given the move-over flag, and he is able to get by them a little bit easier than the other guys maybe.
And Jerry Punch has a comment on Ricky Rudd.
A lot of concern, guys, about the carts notwithstanding the meeting tonight. So Gary Dehart, the crew chief of Ricky Rudd, has radioed Ricky to sort of back off a little bit on the pace, and thus Ricky is trying to back down the time a little bit, try to conserve the car here in the early lap at Bristol.
Well, that's not an easy thing to do, is it, when the car's working so well, as obviously Ricky's is.
That's one of those deals, the slower you go, the faster you get.
There's the interval between 1st and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And as you can see, it is a nose-to-tail battle. 6 cars are running right together.
Davey Allison pulls up on the back of Schrader's car. I think right now that probably Schrader, Allison, and Jeff Bodine is probably faster than Brett Bodine and Alan Kowicki. They're behind, and their job is to get in front. And that's why they call it a race.
It's tough to get in front.
Yeah, exactly.
Tough to pass.
Dick Trickle may have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. A Big A Auto Parts on-track interval from laps 52 to 56. We timed those 5 consecutive laps, timing the leader Rudd and Trickle. And yeah, you can see that Trickle is consistently faster than Rudd and has reduced the interval from 7.9 seconds on the 52nd circuit to 6.8.
Ooh, Davey Allison got his car sideways, coming up that 4th corner, trying to get by Kowicki. Almost lost control.
You know, guys, one of the things I noticed in the Busch Grand National race last night was that you can get a car more sideways on this surface than on the asphalt because it is abrasive and you can stop a car from spinning.
Well, apparently the radial tires do adhere to it a little bit better or grab the car if it starts to spin around. Normally on the asphalt, the radial tire, once it breaks loose, the car is gone with you. But you're right. Several times last night we saw cars get sideways and they were able to straighten them out. So maybe the cement is the way to go.
Now Rudd approaches Richard Petty and about to put a lap on Richard, who runs in 26th position. He started 30th. Here's an Autolite field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. This is how they were running last time around. We're on lap number 71.
Just saw Jimmy Means going to pits on the back straightaway, so had a new sponsor tonight, Taco Bell. That's one of the local stores, trying to get the big store involved in auto racing, but unfortunately Jimmy looks like he's having some problems, maybe out for the night.
We understand his brakes have given way on him, Denny.
Boy, Schrader has been trying everything he can to get around Brett Bodine, and now he finally does it. Got a bite coming off the second corner and went by Brett Bodine. And last week on Speed Week, we had a comment from Ken Schrader after he tested here at Bristol, and he said flat out, I like this surface.
I'll tell you one thing, he better be glad he had his neck worked on.
Yeah, it needs working on after this.
That's right. If he didn't have an operation a couple of months ago, he would definitely have one after tonight.
There's Davey Allison running in 5th. Has Bobby Hillin standing by in relief, but he hopes that he doesn't have to use Bobby. And there is the leader in Winston Cup points, Bill Elliott, and he has his hands full with Jimmy Spencer.
Spencer just got by Dale Earnhardt just a couple of laps ago, and I tell you what, he is working on Elliott hard.
Jimmy Spencer is another driver who likes this racetrack. Remember last year, he led a long time in this race in the Travis Carter entry before he had some problems. But
that's right, he did.
Yeah, he was positioned to win. Of course, he was leading last night in the Busch race as well before he got in the crash with Morgan Shepherd.
This is the Dick Moroso car. He goes inside of Bill Elliott, takes the position away as we go to pit road and John Kernan.
The Dick Moroso crew running a Ford for the first time this week. Bob Renault, who's built a really good engine. It's their only Ford, motor. Mark Reno, the crew chief, said the reason Jimmy drives so well here is he's not afraid of the speed. It doesn't intimidate him. Their strategy tonight, guys, let Jimmy run as hard as he wants, because he usually does anyway.
That's true.
He led in the Busch Grand National race last night until being involved in that crash with Morgan Shepherd, and he is running well here tonight. Now, Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt are side by side. Martin taking that position away from Dale.
And just a lap ago, they both passed Bill Elliott.
I believe that would put Mark Martin in 11th, Earnhardt 12th, Elliott 13th. And there's Spencer running all by himself now. We'll time this lap. You can see the cars bottoming out as they go into turn number 1. There's a little bit of a dip there, and the cars just bottom out.
No traffic in front of him, nothing to worry about. Well, he would have run faster had it not been for that car, so we'll see. Here he comes. There he goes, 17.8. So they slowed down considerably from qualifying, because qualifying was 16 seconds flat, so that's almost 2 seconds slower.
Yeah, 15.91 actually for Ernie Irvan, who set the record for this particular event.
And speaking of Ernie, for you fans of Ernie Irvan, he is still behind the wall. He crashed early while leading, and they're trying to get the car repaired to the point that he can return to the action. Now we're going to time a lap by the leader, Ricky Rudd. He too is in clear traffic, so this should be a pretty good comparison between Ricky and Jimmy Spencer. Rudd off of corner number 4. That's about 0.3 of a second quicker than Jimmy.
17.5 seconds.
Rudd is your leader. Ken Schrader running second, then Bodine, Alan Kulwicki, and Davey Allison. 84 out of 500 laps have been completed here at Bristol International Raceway. Bud 500 at Bristol after 90 laps. It's Ricky Rudd, Ken Schrader, Brett Bodine, Alan Kulwicki, and Davey Allison. We're getting our Winston Cup event out of the way on Saturday night, so you can watch the action tomorrow on ESPN, including the Belgian Grand Prix from Spa-Francorchamps. That's at 7:50 Eastern Time tomorrow morning, and then in the afternoon at 4:30 Eastern Time, the Indy cars are in Vancouver, and as you saw on Speed Week, Michael Andretti is the pole sitter for that event, a weekend full of racing here on ESPN. Now Rudd begins to lap Michael Waltrip.
There's Kenny Schrader, the second place car. There's Brett Bodine, third, Alan Kulwicki, fourth. We can see the interval between Rudd and these guys. Rudd's got easily a complete straightaway on Brett Bodine.
Michael Waltrip is currently the 25th place car. There's still a lot of cars in the lead lap. But there are some good cars coming up. In fact, right in front of Michael Waltrip is Rusty Wallace, who started in the top 10, but Rusty's having a tough time.
Two of the fastest cars on the track right now are Dick Trickle and Jimmy Spencer. We're inside Trickle's car. Actually on top of it with the roof cam. They are running, let's see, 9 to 10.
This car has really bottomed out going down in turn.
Well, so did Spencer's. A lot of sparks came from his car.
I meant Spencer. I think I said Trickle, but I really meant Spencer.
We're going to show you the snapshot from Jimmy Spencer. Started 29th. He has moved all the way up to 10th. And that is his highest position so far. His lowest has been 30th on lap 3. And Jimmy has not led a lap so far.
That's pretty strong on a one-groove racetrack, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very impressive. Another guy that's made a pretty good move up through there is Terry Labonte, who started 18th. He's now currently running 8th up there in the middle of that track.
Wally Dallenbach on the outside of Spencer. Here's Mark Martin, Dallenbach's teammate in the Jack Roush stable.
Wally's lap down.
Mark Martin also doing a fine job. These cars are about 0.3 of a second quicker than the leader.
But now that they're running up on that heavy traffic, Bob, that will probably be taken away, that 0.3 of a second a lap, because it's awfully tough to get around. When you got some open track, you can really turn some good laps.
That's right, because now all of a sudden when they get by Trickle, they do, then they've got other cars to worry about. There's Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Brett Bodine, Davey Allison.
Now Kawicki has taken over 3rd position, so Brett is 4th, Davey 5th, then Jeff Bodine and Darrell Waltrip.
And one of the winningest drivers here, or at least he won his first race here, has won several. Rusty Wallace just went a lap down. Rusty has struggled a little bit here tonight, currently running 24th.
Matter of fact, he won his first Winston Cup race here, but it will not come tonight. He has fallen to 24th position and is now a lap down.
You can see the Miller Pontiac is just not handling too well.
Matter of fact, it appears as if he has a handful out there.
Yeah, he's tried the high groove, the low groove, and none of the grooves are working good enough for him.
And a car into the wall. That's Dave Marcus in 41, the Kellogg's car.
He's sitting right back up a little bit, Dave. I mean, let off the brakes. I guess he did already. He would have thought of that.
He's on that portion of the track that is relatively flat there at the back end of the car, and then the high banking. The cars come down and take the caution flag.
Rusty Wallace and Michael Waltrip were hoping to get around Ricky Rudd, but he beat them back to the flag, so they did not get back to the lead lap.
This caution comes on lap 103. It involves Dave Marcus in his first ride for this team.
I see why he didn't roll back, because the left rear's been up on that car. Looks like pretty good.
We'll back up the tape here and catch the tail end of it. He's already made contact with the first turn wall and now sliding down the banking.
As Ricky Rudd, the leader, just barely got by.
And we have a lot of activity on pit road. Here's Jerry.
And ordinarily under a caution flag, guys, you'd expect to see 4 tires change. But here you've seen how important track position might be. Everyone on pit road here in the front straightaway. Ricky Rudd, Ty Chevrolet. Right behind him, Darrell Waltrip, the Western Auto Chevrolet. Everyone getting service. Rudd gets right side tires. Kenny Schrader is in. And Ricky Rudd down and away. Left side tires now going on Kenny Schrader's Kodiak Chevrolet. Many of the crews further down toward turn 4 taking all 4 tires on. Now the back pitch is coming in. Remember, pitch will move the front straightaway. And the work in the front straightaway pitch is completed. And work now just getting started in the backstretch pits.
The speed limit on pit road is 35 miles an hour, so it is a slow ride down pit lane, but it's absolutely necessary because of the closeness of the pits. Still trying to get Dave Marcus's car off the racetrack as pit stops have been completed here on the front stretch for the most part. And when the car is cleared, we'll be going back to more racing. 105 out of 500 completed here at Bristol. Back after this. Field is getting lined up for a restart. We've just completed some pit stops. There's Jimmy Cox, who holds the stop and go sign at the end of pit road. Now, let's go back to our pit stops and see what happened.
Okay, here he is standing down on pit road. I covered him up a little bit with that mark as the cars start coming out of the pits. And you see he's out of the way. There's Brett Bodine coming out, no problem at all. As far as Davey Allison comes out, here comes Darrell Waltrip and a couple of other cars coming out. Here comes Dale Earnhardt. He has to rush to get out of the way. You get out of Dale Earnhardt's way when he starts out the pit, fellas.
I would. Set to go back to green. Ricky Rudd will lead them down. Brett Bodine is now second, followed by Davey, Dick Trickle, and Mark Martin. Green once again on lap 109.
Changed 4 tires, has made some adjustments, so he has visions of getting up there and getting his lap back. We'll see if that's a reality or a dream.
Now in a spin down in turn 4, Morgan Shepherd loops. I don't know whether this is going to cause a caution or not. He goes all the way around, does a complete 360, has the car running, no caution.
He gets back out. Here comes the leader, not too far behind him. He's going to have to hustle to stay in the lead lap.
Here's what the racetrack looks like from inside Morgan Shepherd's car.
Nobody in front of him. If he didn't spot those tires too much, he might be able to stay out there. Ricky Rudd is about 15 comments behind him.
At this speed, and I recall the in-car camera we had at Saturday Night Thunder of Winchester, the banks almost look flat at this speed. Here's John Kernan.
Well, Morgan Shepherd's crew, the Wood Brothers, are a little bit unhappy right now. They think Kyle Petty tapped Morgan to send him spinning around. But the car is okay right now. Morgan is testing it out. He hasn't told Eddie Wood yet, but they don't think there's any damage done to the race car.
Looks like he may lose a lap, though, because Rudd is pounding on the back door. We mentioned during our live speed week earlier tonight that he has re-signed with the Wood Brothers for 1 more year, and Citgo is back on board for 3 more years.
And that's always a welcome sight for a team owner to have the sponsorship locked in for that long period of time. Citgo's been with the Wood Brothers for a number of years. They really like the people, and the Wood Brothers have been good for Citgo over the years.
Well, this is exactly what the other competitors are needing, is Morgan Shepherd to hold up Ricky Rudd so they can stay within sight of Rudd, because he's really threatening to drive away. He only changed 2 tires, but still seems to have the fastest car on the racetrack when some of the competitors changed 4 tires.
Rudd is having a heck of a time putting a lap on Morgan, and in the meantime, Brett Bodine is now right there on the rear spoiler of Ricky Rudd. That's what you were talking about, Benny.
Yeah, Brett Bodine has caught Rudd.
Brett looking inside down the front stretch. Meanwhile, just back of this, there's Trickle, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip. 5th, 6th, and 7th here.
Darrell Waltrip will be tough before this race is over, fellas, in my opinion.
Waltrip he's won 11 times.
And a battle for the lead. Brett Bodine's on the inside of Rudd and takes that spot away. Here's Rusty trying to get alongside, can't make it. Meanwhile, Davey trying to get on the inside of Rusty Wallace.
But Davey backs off going into the turn. Says it's too early in the race to be doing that kind of thing.
A few laps ago, Morgan Shepherd. This is how it sounded and looked from his perspective.
Yeah, sounds like he got tapped a little bit back there, maybe.
Does a complete spin around, keeps going.
And Rudd, those 2 tires that he changed in is starting to show up.
It's showing up definitely. Yeah, I think he needed all 4 tires, and I'm sure he realizes right now that he needed all 4 tires. Because it didn't take too long to get those right side ones heated up, because they were having to do most of the work. And now it's showing up. Jerry Punch?
Ed, you're exactly right. Ricky Rudd is complaining the car is very, very loose on the racetrack, and as rough as this track is in the early laps here, you cannot afford to have a loose race car. Rudd's going to have to back off and maybe hope for another yellow flag and come in and get some fresh left side tires.
Well, he's backed off to the point of falling back to 3rd position.
He better not back off too much because the next 15 is not too far behind him. The next 5, anyway, 6. There's that bunch, led by Dick Trickle.
Earnhart's got things hooked up.
He started very far back in the pack, but yes, he is moving on up through there now. In fact, he started 23rd.
And finally, Brett Bodine puts a lap on Morgan Shepherd. He spent many laps trying to get around it. Look at this.
And almost trouble for Terry Labonte. Apparently something has gone wrong with his car. He's coming into the pits. Well, he started into the pits and couldn't get in there. A lot of smoke coming from the car number 94.
With some great action here from the racetrack. Waltrip and Jeff Bodine and Mark Martin. And Jimmy Spencer.
I think Earnhardt was the winner in that deal because he came out ahead of all these cars. We can see him right up there. He's the front car in front of Dick Trickle. Or right behind Dick Trickle, I should say. In front of Darrell Waltrip.
Terry Labonte did take his car into the pit area behind the wall, apparently out of the race.
Labonte had moved up significantly from his 18th starting position, but is now behind the wall. Jeff Bodine, 9th place, Mark Martin, and there is the leader, Brett Bodine. Second now is Davey, and third is Rudd.
And Darrell Waltrip just got by Dale Earnhardt for the next spot. What is that, 5th?
Yep. Has himself on the leaderboard. The scoreboard here shows the top 5.
Speaking of leaderboards, Ned, boy, that guy can do some work, can he?
But that is evidence of this was how they were running last lap, and it reflected there that Earnhardt was ahead of Waltrip, when in fact on that lap he got around it. Terry Labonte was in 20th position a lap down before he took the car to the infield.
Well, actually, he was not a lap down before the car. Something went wrong with it, but he's pitting on the backstretch, and as he had slowed down and run around, but he did go a lap down then. Of course, he's behind the wall now.
And Ernie Irvan is 117 laps behind at this point. Not listed as out of the race yet. He is still behind the wall with the car getting worked on, but it has not made a reappearance on the racetrack after his early crash. Brett Bodine has the lead in the Quaker State Ford as we have completed 133 laps now of this Bud 500 from Bristol International Raceway. Okay. All righty.
Darrell's trying on the outside, Ned.
Yeah. See how that goes.
Might be able to do it in circle. Made it work.
Darrell just went around the pavement outside.
Darrell's about to pass Rudd, isn't he?
Well,
Waltrip seems to think so.
Yeah, I predicted as time went by there would be a break there.
Got Rudd. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Bristol International Raceway for the annual NASCAR Winston Cup race at night at Bristol International. Now the telemetry shows you what Dick Trickle is doing in that number 8 car.
Up to 129 that time. He's called Wally Dallenbeck, and Martin's been on his rear bumper for the last 5 laps. And Jeff Bodine tries to dodge these guys. Here's Schrader trying to get by Bodine. They all backed off.
Schrader, or rather Trickle, is running in 6th position as we watch him try to pass Wally Dallenbeck. And he does so, going into 3.
And looky here, Davey Allison has caught Brett Bodine and takes the lead.
He has passed Bodine. Davey Allison becomes our 3rd leader. I believe it's 3rd leader tonight, maybe 4th leader.
The gentleman coming up fast, right behind them is Darrell Walker. New dad this week. Stevie had her
Yes,
baby
that's right.
on Tuesday, so congratulations to Darrell and Stevie, their 2nd girl.
Sarah Caitlin Kearns Walker was born this week. Congratulations as Miss Liz to you two.
Meanwhile, that battle rages on for 6th position.
And Martin's on the inside. There's a slower car up there.
Had to back off. Jim Sauter was there. He got down as low on the racetrack as he could out of the way, but Trickle's in the wall. Just a
Did
little.
you see that in-car camera shot of Trickle as he came off that corner?
That's what I call sawing the wheel and fighting it.
Man, oh man.
And Trickle is slowing significantly.
Yeah, the right front tire is, and there goes Walter right by Brett Bodine. Just blew back on the outside.
Waltrip has found himself a groove, fellas. We predicted that the groove might move up as time went on. Darrell Waltrip is helping to do that. See, he's up a half a groove right there, not even having to race with anybody. But when he catches the lap traffic, he just goes above him on the outside. No problem at all. See there, he's running just a little bit higher than Smother. Okay, there we see the contact between he and Martin, and into the wall he went.
And Martin came off the corner and ran right up on the back of Trickle, nailed him in the back, and just got him out of shape. Terry just knocked the rear wheels off the ground, and the right front goes in the wall hard, and Trickle did a super job to save that race car.
And so did all of these others back there do a good job.
And while that was happening, we had a change of 2nd position as Darrell Waltrip took to the high road and passed Brett Bodine, putting that Western Auto Chevy into 2nd place. Trickle has been in the pits, and he is back out again. And the leader is Davey Allison, but now 2nd place is Darrell Waltrip.
And Waltrip is coming. Man, he's closing up. Now we can see Trickle slowly.
By the way, Darrell's new daughter was 20 1/4 inches long and 7 pounds 12 ounces. Now here's Harry Gant taking over 7th position from Ken Schrader.
Where did he come from? I don't know. Harry was the 2nd round fastest qualifier. Didn't have a good qualifying time last night, but came back today in the daylight when normally the track's a little bit slower, and I think he qualified what would have been about 5th or 6th fastest speed. Started 16th.
Once again, today's race includes the Gillette Halfway Challenge contest, $10,000 to the driver leading at the halfway point, and a lucky fan at home could win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you're called at home, you must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge to win the car. Now, if you want to enter the contest for our next event, the Mountain Dew Southern 500 at Darlington, a week from tomorrow, you need to write to the Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, 33731, 2246. You must be 18 years of age or older to enter, and we must have your entry by Saturday, September the 5th, to be eligible for the next day. And Waltrip is the new leader.
Did you see that while you were saying all those things?
I did not. How did he do it?
Just did it right up on the outside of that racetrack and moved right around.
You need to go home and watch this on the VCR, because that was impressive.
Very impressive.
Man.
Well, as we mentioned, Waltrip is no stranger to this racetrack. He has won 11 different times. His first victory coming here back in 1978.
I tell you what, we need to... Oh, here we go. There goes Spencer by Jeff Bodine.
And that would mean that Jimmy moves to 9th.
Started 29th and is now running 9th.
Pretty impressive. Schrader running behind Morgan Shepherd, who is not on the same lap.
Dick Trickle back in the pits once again.
Yeah, he made some heavy contact with the right front. There goes Harry again on the inside of Morgan. He and Schrader both go right on by. Morgan lets him go.
Boy, Darrell Walter, gentlemen, is in some very heavy traffic. He's working it okay. And here's Davey coming up on the outside of Rick Mast. Now Walter just runs down on the inside of his brother Michael. Michael gives him plenty of running room. Let's see if he'll do the same thing for Davey back there. Here's Teddy moves down, let Darrell go. I tell you, Darrell working that high groove so well, the lap traffic doesn't give him quite as much of a problem.
Tell you what, Darrell likes that being a new papa, doesn't he?
He does.
Well, I tell you.
He said, well, you know, the grocery bill's going to go up a little bit, then he's got college to look forward to and all that, so he said, better drive hard, make some money. Now Davey has caught up to Michael. He won't give him too much trouble.
Ernie Irvan returns to the action after several laps in the pits. It's lap 163.
Man, I tell you what.
Here's Dale Earnhardt now. He has caught Brett Bodine, who is running third. Earnhardt is fourth, and there's Mark Martin, the fifth place car, in the picture as well. Lapping those same cars that we saw the leaders lap not too long ago. Just a few laps ago, as a matter of fact.
Well, you got to take your hat off to Dale Earnhardt, who has moved up from a poor qualifying position. And you're right, Ned, that upper line, that upper groove is coming in.
I think it'll be the groove that they'll be racing in here before too long. What that they'll prefer as opposed to the bottom groove. You know, we didn't see that come in last night. The low groove was the place to be all night with the Busch Grand National car. Here's Earnhardt taking over third position. Mark Martin moving on the inside of Brett Bodine will take over fourth position, shifting Brett back to fifth. And the big reason is the Busch cars are about 300 pounds lighter than the Winston Cup cars. When the Winston Cup cars go, they go into these turns faster, first of all, because of the horsepower they have and the momentum they have going into the turn, so it makes them drift up a little bit. So whether they're trying to work a groove in or not, they do it just inches at a time. And then when they start lapping cars through, they have to run up there. And so it's a combination of things that makes that groove start coming in.
And that groove up on the top of the racetrack is drier right now. There's no oil, there's no water, there's no tire buildup. It's drier up there. They're able to get a better grip on that dry racetrack.
And a race driver will search out the dry place on the racetrack. They'll find it.
And that's why Davey Allison, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, drivers like that are so successful in finding that groove is experience, being here time and time again.
Here are the top 10. The race is being led by Darrell Waltrip. In second is Allison, then Martin, Earnhardt, and Bodine. Will take a break and be right back.
Rudd's almost, we need to establish that Rudd has lost almost half a lap since
he was leading.
Since that pit stop.
Yeah. Tonight.
He's a start-finish line. They're almost in the middle of back straightaway, so. It looks like he is, yeah, he looks like he's flying.
What a great shot from our helicopter hovering well above Bristol International Raceway, where we are televising live the Bud 500 NASCAR Winston Cup event. 175 laps have been completed. Darrell Waltrip is the leader, followed by Davey Allison. And then perhaps the fastest car on the racetrack at this point, Mark Martin running third.
Well, we saw Dale Earnhardt pass Brett Bodine and then Mark Martin. Since then, Mark Martin has passed Dale Earnhardt and just driven away from him.
There's Mark in the Valvoline Ford from Jack Roush. Started fourth, has been up and down, but now is up to third.
Well, he gave up track position, made some pit stops during an early caution, and that track position that means a lot on any racetrack, and particularly here in Bristol, but he's been able to get back up to third now, so he's right in the swing of things.
Yeah, he was fortunate that the black flag for the dragon brake duct happened early in the race, and he was able to fight his way back. Darrell running across some heavy traffic now. There's Hud Strickland, Derek Cope.
And we get a report from Jerry Punch on Dick Trickle's car.
Fellas, what may have looked like incidental contact a little bit ago for Dick Trickle has turned into a lengthy procedure here back in the garage area. They have the car on the jacks, and what they're going to try to do is jack the frame that's been bent in the right front back into position. The A-frame's been bent, part of the front frame and section has been bent. Trickle sitting patiently in the car, but even incidental contact here at these speeds on this track can be disastrous.
Well, it continues on the car, hoping that Dick can get back out and put a few laps. You know, guys, whenever I think of Dick Trickle, I always think of one phrase that he originated, and tonight, ASA is running at Anderson, Indiana on the quarter mile. Of course, Dick Trickle used to run regularly with ASA, and he said running at Anderson, Indiana on the quarter mile in that size race car is like jet fighters in a gymnasium, and I think that pretty much describes the action here, too. Well, Ken Schrader just went by the 26 car of Bodine, and now look at Jimmy Spencer and Harry Gant knocking on Brett's door.
Spencer really has a fast race car, and not only does he have a fast race car, he has something to prove, and that is that he belongs in Winston Cup racing.
That's a good point. You know, we're entering the point of the season where deals are being made for next year, and Jimmy would like nothing more than to have a full-time position with the Moroso team in '93.
Yeah, and they're taught if Dick Moroso could find a sponsor, he would certainly go Winston Cup racing with Jimmy Spencer as the driver. Brett Bodine is slowing. He slowed about a half a second a lap in the last few laps, so Hannell going away. And Davey Allison's off. He's off the pace. Davey Allison off the pace, isn't he? No. Excuse me. Martin's just fast.
It may have made it look like optical illusion because Martin's going so fast.
And I saw Davey on the inside, and I said, oh, my goodness.
Now, here's Darrell going to the inside of Derek Cope and lapping him. But
Derek is currently running in 16th position, so now there will be 15 cars on the lead lap.
And Mark Martin is closing in quickly. He's got two cars between himself and Waltrip.
Derek Cope, the Pure Letter Chevrolet.
Isn't that a gorgeous shot? Look at the tremendous lighting that we have to bring you the excellent pictures from Bristol. We'll be back with more live coverage after this. Okay. Now, have they built new stands since the spring?
Yeah, isn't that over there new?
Over there?
Or was that there in the spring?
I don't remember.
I thought it was new, but I'm not sure.
Is that grandstand over in 3 new just for this race? It was new for the spring race. Okay.
Oh, okay.
How about this grandstand coming off 4? Was that?
Okay, so they haven't built any new race, any new stands.
I was thinking they did, but I don't know.
Well, that's right. Yeah, he is. A record crowd has turned out to watch the Bud 500. 1992 style, and we have some debris on the racetrack. But we have no caution flag at the moment. It is at the end of the backstretch. Here comes the leader, Darrell Waltrip. But Mark Martin is now within a car length or two. Record crowd. Ned, I think you said that they sold out standing room in February.
I called over here the other day for a friend of mine to try to get to see. I knew they were sold out of reserve seats, and I said, do you sell standing room only? And they said, yes, we do, but we sold out in February.
They can't build enough seats to accommodate the people that want to come to see this race. And
here comes Martin on the inside, Bob.
Excuse me. Waltrip got a little out of shape, a little high there in the first and second corners. I don't think he's been running the high groove, but I don't think he wanted to get that high. Mark Martin's the new leader.
You see Darrell Waltrip when he went in the third corner?
Waved Mark Martin by. Yep.
He said, go ahead, man. There's still 300 laps to go. We're not going to fight over this thing at this stage of the race, surely.
Watching from Morgan Shepherd's car, looking out back to Citgo Ford.
You see Davey Allison back there. He's the third-place car.
Here comes another Autolite field summary. Earnhardt running in fourth and Ken Schrader listed fifth. Bodine brothers are running in the second five. There's Brett on the right and Jeff, left I should say, and Jeff on the right. But Ricky Rudd is now passing Brett Bodine.
It looks like Jeff Bodine is going to do the same thing, or attempt to.
He does.
Rusty Wallace is lapped down to these cars, but it's a pretty good car right now.
Yeah, he's doing better than he was earlier before he made the pit stop, as you said. Apparently they made some adjustments on his Pontiac.
Watching the field pass by, and we'll zoom into Waltrip, or rather Mark Martin. And John Kernan has a report on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, Bob, Darrell's crew had been talking the progress between Mark Martin and how he was closing the gap on Darrell. They noticed Darrell slowing down just a little bit, Mark coming on pretty quick. Saw that Mark really wanted to take the lead. Well, they got down in there, and instead of getting himself into trouble trying to protect the lead,
Dale Jarrett apparently is fine.
Dale Jarrett now is in the wall.
I'm not sure he made contact with the wall, but he did spin, and it will bring out a caution flag. He did make contact with the wall in turn 2, and so the caution flag flies for the fourth time tonight on lap 201.
I'll tell you, this is waiting for Bill Elliott. Bill was not too far from going a lap down. He is currently running in 14th position and is the last car on the lead lap, and wouldn't have been many laps until the leaders would have caught him.
Here's the tail end of Dale Jarrett's incident in turn 2, sliding down the banking.
You can see Bill Elliott's car right there, the red car going around. You can see Waltrip on the right side of the screen, so not too far.
Yeah, there is the contact with the wall. And Rick Mast going by and Ernie Irvin sneaking by. The leaders are coming in for pit stops. Here's John Kernan.
Darrell Waltrip is in for a 4-tire change, and they're telling him the car had slowed down. That's because the car had gotten very, very loose. They're hoping to tighten it up right now with a 4-tire change. The first can of gasoline in. Mark Martin's further down pit road with Dr. Jerry Bunch.
And likewise, John, they've added a rounder wedge. Split screen, you're watching 7 on the bottom of 6 on the top. They've already made an adjustment on the chassis on the Valvoline car. Here's Waltrip down pit road. Here's the Valvoline Ford, and Darrell Waltrip will win the race back to turn 1 with Mark Martin in second, Earnhardt third, and then Davey Allison fourth.
Yeah, Darrell got out just a few feet ahead of Mark Martin. Crossed the line first at the end of pit road.
And there's something wrong with the 26 car. He didn't get out, now he's moving again.
Slowly off pit road is Brett Bodine. We're under caution for the fourth time because of an incident up in turn 2 with Dale Jarrett. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Occasionally, we've seen a car veer abruptly into the wall for no apparent reason. This usually occurs as a result of something breaking in the chassis or suspension. One way to hopefully prevent this is by the use of this machine, a Magnaflux machine, or basically a mechanic's x-ray machine. Now you take anything metal, engine part, chassis part, or as Earl Hallman is holding here, a timing gear, and put it in the machine and allow it to become magnetic. Then you spray the Magnaflux rinse over it, place the part under a special illumination, and suddenly a small crack will become visible.
And any slight crack in any part can be very significant when you're running at this type of racetrack at the speeds that they're turning.
Kawicki made a late pit stop. What was that all about? Ned, did you?
Yeah, I think he stayed out there to get the 5 bonus points to lead.
Really?
So he could get 5 bonus points. Smart move. He had not been up front yet tonight.
And he is 4th in the points, just behind 3rd place Harry Gant. So every point is important to Alan Kawicki. We're still under caution here at Bristol. We're set to go back to racing in just a few minutes when we return. For enthusiasm from the fans here. They are psyched about this event, and there are a record number of them tonight here at Bristol. Over 60,000 have gathered in Bristol, Tennessee to see the Bud 500, and we are just a little bit past the 200 lap mark and about to go back to racing from a caution caused by a spin up in turn number 2 and contact with the wall by Dale Jarrett. The Western Auto Chevy won the battle out of the pits with Darrell Waltrip. That car will lead them as they come down for the green flag. Martin is second, then Earnhardt, Allison, and Gant.
Yeah, Rusty Wallace trying to get his lap back, and he does indeed get around Darrell Waltrip. That does put him back in the lead lap. If he can stay out there, and if there should be another caution, he'll be back in this thing. We've seen Rusty Wallace do that before, especially when he makes a lot of laps.
And that car is running much better than it did in the early stages of this race when he fell back and lost a lap.
He could get a break and have Mark Martin and Darrell Waltrip start racing for the lead.
He is in 15th position. With him back in the lead lap now, there are 15 cars shown on the lead lap. Darrell Waltrip leads. Mark Martin second. Dale Earnhardt is third. Davey Allison is fourth.
Darrell's trying to get by Rusty.
Well, Rusty says somebody spin out or drop something on the racetrack so the caution will come out.
Darrell looks on the inside.
Rusty just closed that door. Well, that's a run on it coming off of turn 4.
In the pack, Jeff Bodine and Bill Elliott coming through the field, and now Waltrip gets the position on Rusty and puts him a lap down, and he will bring Mark Martin along with him, or Mark will try to. Yep,
here's Earnhardt.
Look at Earnhardt. We may be shaping up for a confrontation between some of the guys we used to see battle. That is Earnhardt and Waltrip.
Earnhardt, that these guys would catch on to this concrete racetrack before anyone else.
Earnhardt is no stranger to this racetrack. I mentioned that Darrell has won 11 times. Dale has the second highest number of wins among the active competitors with 7 victories. And now here comes Davey Allison, also passing Rusty Wallace.
Looks like Rusty's car is only good for about 5 laps, Ned.
Ooh, Ken Schrader got out of shape coming off the corner. He and Morgan Shepherd may have had some slight contact.
Now, Jeff Bodine trying to make a run on Schrader going into the turn, but couldn't quite get up beside him.
All 6 of those cars there are vying for position. Kyle Petty moving up. There's Alan Kawicki in the 7, and Elliott, of course, in the 11, and Rick Mast.
And Davey Allison has called Earnhardt and gets alongside.
The crowd rises to its feet here in the main grandstand as they watch Allison go to 3rd, passing Earnhardt.
Just see the speed these cars carry as they come off the corner at about 110 miles an hour.
Earnhardt started 23rd. By the 75th lap, he was 12th. He moved to 7th by the 130th circuit. Then he moved to 4th, and now, last lap at the end of 2:21, was running 4th.
Had run 3rd there for a little bit, so Davey got around it.
Earnhardt, 10th in the point standings. Not mathematically eliminated, but I think his chances of repeating as Winston Cup champion are pretty much over for this year.
Oh, Davey Allison, points leader, spins up in 3, backs in the wall.
Here's Marlin also spinning.
Some heavy contact to the rear of the, he's not the points leader, that's right, he's the second place car.
Nevertheless, he was trying to take over the points lead, and he has some significant damage to the left rear of that race car.
The entire rear of the car is just like, what do you call those cars, gremlins?
Yeah, an old AMC gremlin.
With a flat back end. We see the car jumping up down the back.
Yeah.
So he's got some serious damage to the car.
And Davey was doing so well.
Meanwhile, he needs to come into pits, but he wants to catch up with the pace car.
Well, the pits were not open.
Yeah, pits are closed right now. The pace car is picking up the field in turn number 3, and now when it gets onto the track, and there it is, the pits now are open. Here's a replay.
There we see Mark Martin and Davey Allison, no one around him, just like Ernie Irvin, goes in the corner, loses control, backs in the fence. You know, we've had 2 or 3 other cars.
And Brett Bodine is going to nudge Sterling Marlin and send Marlin around.
We've had a couple of cars in practice. Michael Waltrip, depends on Pontiac, just going by the yellow car. Crashed this afternoon in practice, and that is a backup car he's using. Also, Richard Petty crashed earlier yesterday.
Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
And a heavily damaged Havoline Ford Thunderbird comes to rest here in the pit area. The crew, when they saw Davey's car come by the first time, they went ahead and took off back to the truck and have come back behind pit row with very, very large spotlights to get the car ready to be worked on behind the wall. Davey has now pulled the car behind the wall, and the rear of the car, as you said, Benny Parsons, a minute ago, has been shortened by about 2.5 feet. In fact, the car is almost completely gone from the L back, and now the crew begins pushing the car behind the wall. Davey Allison had just radioed a moment ago before they went green that he was feeling fine. The risk they were concerned about with the vibration, we talked at the top of the show, was not causing a problem. He was running comfortably up front, and now he sits in the car here on pit road. Davey's still sitting in his car. First, let me ask you, are you okay, Davey?
Yeah, I'm fine, Jerry. The car just got away from me down there going into turn 3. It had been a little bit loose getting in the corner, but it wasn't bad. And then that lap, I guess I just locked the right rear wheel up. And I backed it in the wall. It's a tough break. These guys have been doing a great job. The car was running good, so hopefully we can get it fixed and get out there and get some points.
Well, obviously, Davey disgusted and disappointed, but they're going to try to get this car fixed. It is heavily damaged. The rear of the car almost completely. You see now trying to fill sheet metal away just to be able to assess the damage. This Havoline crew here having their day's work here this evening. We're under caution once again from Bristol International Raceway. 227 laps complete. We're approaching the halfway. Back after this.
Watching live coverage of the 20th stop on the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup Tour, the Bud 500 from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. And our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on. By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. 235 laps completed out of 500. Darrell Waltrip is the leader of this race. He's pulled away a little bit from Mark Martin, who is second. Dale Earnhardt is third, and between Martin and Earnhardt is Rusty Wallace.
This is amazing. Darrell Waltrip is just pulling away from Mark Martin. In 5 laps, he's put a half straightaway on Mark, and evidently he's got the thing hooked up. John Kernan, what's going on down there?
Hey, Darrell is seeing dollar signs in his eyes. That $10,000 leading at halfway is up for grabs in about 13 laps. Darrell is telling his crew to count the laps down. He's got to get that extra money. And some food for thought, guys. When Jessica was born a few years ago, Darrell won the race at Martinsville the next weekend. So they're hoping that that happens again tonight.
Ooh, so it could be deja vu all over again, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're getting close to the halfway mark. If you've entered the Gillette Halfway Challenge and you are called at home and can name the driver who wins the Gillette Halfway Challenge, you'll win a new Chevrolet Lumina. You want to enter the contest at next week's Mountain Dew Southern 500. Write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2236, St. Petersburg, 33731-2246. You must be 18 years of age or older, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, September 5th to be eligible for next Sunday's event. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Mark Martin is radio to his crew that he thinks he may have a miss or a skip in the engine. That was moments ago. He said, no, the car's running fine. Apparently what they've done is they've broken a header pipe. So they go into corners. You see a little bit of fire or flame beneath the car from that cracked header. You don't see it every lap, but the crew is convinced that's the skipping that Mark Martin is hearing.
He has dropped back from the leader, Waltrip, but he has not been, he hasn't lost any ground to third place, Dale Earnhardt.
You know, right now, Earnhardt is not gaining on Martin, neither is Mark gaining on Darrell Waltrip.
In fact, Martin might be pulling away from Earnhardt just a little bit.
I think Harry Gant, as a matter of fact, is gaining on Dale Earnhardt.
We got 7 laps to go to the halfway point. Here's the completion of 2:43. And Mark Martin, the winner at Martinsville, has had 7 top 10s in the last 8 races and has moved from 11th to 5th in NASCAR Winston Cup points in the last 7 events. Finds himself 285 behind the points leader, Bill Elliott, going in. And there is Darrell Waltrip. Well, he's just about to put $10,000 into that college fund money for his new daughter. He has 5 more laps to the halfway point and $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge.
You know, Mark Martin's coming back on him now.
Yes, he is gaining back a little bit right now.
He's not going to be able to catch him in 5 laps for the $10,000, but he is gaining on him.
Their Graham Field summary.
They're on the 12 cars on the lead lap now.
Bill Elliott, one of those, the Winston Cup points leader. Remember, Davey Allison crashed a few laps ago and is behind the wall. Davey 26. 2 more to the halfway point.
There's Harry Gant and Brett Bodine racing for the 4th spot. And Earnhardt right in front of these fellas, but so this is actually a race for 3rd. Of course, I think Harry Gant's a little bit more racer than Brett Bodine right now, because he closes right up on the back of Dale Earnhardt.
All right, this time around will be the halfway point. 250 out of the 500 laps, and the driver that is going to collect the $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge is Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip is leading at the halfway point, and he was the leader of the halfway point in the April race here in Bristol. So if you're called now by the Gillette Halfway Challenge people in the next few minutes and they ask you who is leading and who won the 10 grand, you tell them Darrell Waltrip, and you will win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34.
Larry again, 4th place. He's 3rd place in the points.
Better season than last year when he was in 10th in the points. And now, as Waltrip moves through, the slower traffic, Martin's right on the back bumper.
He has caught him. Darrell might not be quite as aggressive now once he's got that $10,000 in the bank.
He probably doesn't mind if Martin leads the next couple of 100 laps.
That's right.
As long as he gets it back with about 50 to go, he'll be content.
This is from Dick Trickle's car, the Sneakers Ford.
Darrell is overtaking Richard Petty, going by him on the outside, or about to go by him.
Richard's showing some damage there on the right side. Derek Cope slid up high out of turn number 2, brushed along the wall. Well, he hit pretty good.
He did hit it pretty good. That's going to bend up the suspension to render his car uncompetitive, I'm sure.
Cope 17th. Here's Jerry again.
Well, they are still working on Davey Allison's Havoline Ford. In fact, it's so heavily damaged, they are attaching a wrecker to the rear of the car with a chain, and they've been jerking the rear of the car trying to pull some of the frame away from the ground. Davey's still scratching the seat. He's been getting somewhat of a rough ride inside the car as they attach the wrecker and try to pull the cable and then pull the wrecker forward to try to straighten the rear frame rail.
Well, while work continues on Davey Allison's car, the Winston Cup points leader is still out there in action with no damage to the car, and he is running in 12th position. Elliott is. Now, he has not led a lap tonight, so he has not picked up those 5 points.
Meanwhile, Martin has passed Darrell Waltrip for the lead. There he goes. There he is.
Action all over the place. We can't keep up with it.
It's happening so fast we can't keep up.
However, you can always count upon seeing it in replay. And this is how Mark Martin got the lead from Darrell.
Going down in turn 1. Got alongside and just made it look easy.
Now a good battle. Jimmy Spencer and Kyle Petty. Petty passes Jimmy Spencer and takes over the 9th position.
That might be the first time we've seen Jimmy Spencer passed all day.
Could be.
He got a little bit high up there, Kyle. He got under him, and Spencer got a little bit squirrely coming off of that turn. Kyle just drove under and went on around. Now Spencer working on him. He said, I don't like that. I want that position back. But Kyle has run a good, steady race here tonight. So he's up there in 9th position.
Bill Elliott doesn't have a scratch on that car, does he, Ned? I don't see a scratch anywhere.
Looks pretty clean, the inside of it.
Another battle just a moment ago was the battle between Ricky Rudd and Jeff Bodine. Bodine picked up the spot from Ricky Rudd.
And Ricky Rudd, since he was so dominant there early at the part of the race, seemed to have lost the handle a little bit in the end.
Yes, the car just doesn't seem to be working as well as it did. He was dominant in the first part of the race, but since they made the first pit stop, it just hasn't run that well. Now, I mentioned a while back that...
Here's Mark Waltrip.
Go ahead.
Darrell Waltrip. Darrell's keeping him in sight. I don't think that Darrell's concerned about leading the race right now. Do you, Ned?
I think that he's content to run his own pace.
Yes.
Mark wants to run a little bit faster right now than he does, and so he said, okay, you just go ahead and run as fast as you want to out there. I'll run as fast as I want to, but I'll keep you in sight.
Well, let's take a look now at our Western Auto race recap. Mark Martin had led 11 of the first 260 laps. We've had 5 caution periods that have counted for 25 circuits, 13 cars on the lead lap, 7 leaders, 8 lead changes, and an average speed of almost 93 miles an hour. Those cars that have led and picked up 5 Winston Cup bonus points include Irvin, Rudd, Bodine, Kowicki, Allison Martin, and Darrell. Now, only 2 cars officially listed as out of the race. Dave Marcus, who crashed, and Terry Labonte. There are several other, however, behind the wall. Tony Glover leads the Mechanic of the Year race from Western Auto with 407 points. Tim Brewer is second, and Donnie Richardson, Larry McReynolds, and Steve Meal. Standings in the Mechanic of the Year competition sponsored by Western Auto.
Well, those standings are very close.
They sure are. All right, Mark Martin leads. Just put a lap on the number 52 car of Jimmy Means. Second place, right behind him, is Darrell Waltrip. We'll take another break and be back with more after this. It's not important.
Well, Kawicki was not far from going a lap down.
I see why he made that pitch.
While we were away, we had our 6th caution. It came on lap number 273, and it involved Jimmy Spencer. You have capping in turn number 2. Here's the replay.
He's going down in turn 1. Actually, he loses control as he enters turn 1. And around he goes. Bill Elliott, the Winston Cup point leader, barely gets by, and no one else was involved in the spin.
He didn't hit anything. There were a lot of pit stops following that, and look who won the race out of the pits. At the top of your screen, just off of corner number 4, keeping the car under 35 miles an hour, Harry Gant wins the race back out and across the line, and so he will be the leader when we return to competition, and that will be in one more lap.
And I guess Dale Earnhardt was credited with getting out of the pits in 2nd place, Mark Martin 3rd, and Darrell Waltrip back in 4th. And we're going back racing the next time, next lap.
Well forward with the furled caution flag and the one more sign and one more lap indication. Gant, Earnhardt, Martin, Waltrip, Brett, Jeff, Ricky, Kyle, and Elliott. That's the way they'll restart. Harry Gant is right in the thick of the battle for the Winston Cup at age 53. He's 135 points behind Elliott in 3rd position, and here's the green flag.
So he gets himself the 5 bonus points. Of course, he did when he took the lead. But you get bonus points for even leading under the caution, so he'd already got those. But that's something that's very important now, and as the season goes on, it'll be more important for every bonus point you can pick up. He'll be doing everything he can to get it.
Stretching his fuel mileage earlier this year, and he is in this points battle. What's your strategy in winning the title, Harry?
Well, it's the same as just try to finish high as we can and stay on the track. We got to make up a lot of points. They got a long lead on us, really, and it's just a long way yet to go, and we just hope that we will gain instead of lose momentum. So that's our objective right now, is to try to keep the wheel in the way or gaining some. To do so, you got to finish ahead of the competition. So right now, that's what we're trying to do, get a little better motors, a little better car to be able to do that with.
And another crash, as Harry tells us about the possibility of winning the Winston Cup, and this one involves Rick Mast, and again, it's off turn 2 down the backstretch.
He was in a big pack of cars that Kyle Petty had almost lost it coming off in turn 2, and the car is really backed up there in a pack, and I think Rick got bumped from behind. That's the way it looked to me. Now watch the far right. You see him with the black and white car over there.
Richard Petty is the guy that did the bump.
Just barely touched him and sent him around.
And he goes down and makes contact with the inside wall, about like Ernie Irvin did at the start of the race.
It was one of those accordion deals. Somebody probably well up front got on the brakes a little bit.
Well,
somebody just banged into each other.
Kyle Petty got totally sideways between turns 3 and 4 in the middle, 1 and 2, I should say. And so the car did have to back up, and that caused all. Here's Davey Allison going back up.
Davey is back in competition. Now we'll show it to you again. Now this time watch the far left, and you can see that there are cars that are
they let off the gas, and Richard, it's just one of those unintentional things that
what happened? Kyle Petty, when it went in turn 1 on the inside of Derek Cope, and they ran across a slow car, so he had to back out of the gas and hit the brakes and almost lost control. And while he was saying that you're right, they just started jamming up behind him.
Waltrip makes a pit stop. That'll cost him track position significantly.
There are 11 cars in the lead lap, so he will be 11th.
So Darrell takes the opportunity during this pit stop, during this caution rather, to make another pit stop. Back in a moment at Bristol. Rick Mast got out of the car under his own power. He probably will spend a few moments in the infield care center. Richard Petty on the Fan Appreciation Tour. 59 starts here at Bristol and 3 wins. His last win was in August of 1975. 26 top 10 finishes, giving him a percentage of 43, and his last top 5 was in 1987 during this race when he finished in 5th position. Now, you'll hardly ever see Richard Petty without the sunglasses and the hat. Why is that? Well, here's Dr. Jerry Punch with this week's Petty Memory.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by new STP engine treatment. Help stop engine wear before you start. The legend Richard Petty was made on the racetrack, but his aura can be seen in his sunglasses and patented cowboy hat. But where did they come from?
My eyes are sensitive to light anyway, so I was wearing some kind of sunglasses. So I got to wearing these, and the wind, you know, would keep the dust and stuff out from behind them. I mean, they was open, you wouldn't sweat and all that stuff. So it just got to be a more and more of a habit deal. And now the only time I take them off, I guess, when I go to bed or take a bath or something like that. It's just got to be part of it. And you know, the hat I think came about a little bit later on. I think it's not been going but maybe 10 years or something like that. One reason it works good for me at the racetracks and stuff is that when the Pontiac people are talking to me and I've got on an STP hat, they don't get mad at me, or vice versa, you know, Goodyear hat or whatever. You always got the wrong hat on with people you talk to. You wear this, you know, you're not out of school either way. So it made it a little bit easier. And then I got in the habit of wearing it and don't have to comb my hair, so that helps too.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, where Harry Gant is the leader, and right now Rusty Wallace has gotten a lap back, but the man in trouble is Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, he was in second place when this race restarted, Bob, and he went into turn 1, went very high coming off of turn 2, and he's been up in the high groove ever since, and the entire field is going nice.
He got off to a great start when they threw the flag. He went up and bumped Harry Gant like, get out of my way, I've got a fast race car, and then all of a sudden in turn 1 the car got high, and he is going to the back.
It's like he's got a cylinder that's gone or a flat tire or something. Jerry Punch is on his way down there. I'm sure he'll have a report in just a moment. Jerry Punch, you there yet?
Yeah, we're here, Benny. What happened when the restart, the power steering belt and the alternator belt came off, so Earnhardt has no alternator and no power steering at all here at Bristol.
Boy, if Dale Earnhardt didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all this year.
Yeah, that's right. He got a pretty good run going here today. He's going a solid top 5 car. And remember when he won with no power steering here that time?
Yes, I remember that. Boy,
what a job that was. Meanwhile, up front, it is still Harry Gant.
And he's been banging on Rusty Wallace, trying to put a lap back on Rusty. Rusty jumped out there at the start of the race, got back in the lead lap, hoped that maybe the caution would come out. There's the second place car, Brett Bodine, car number 26.
And Jeff is in 3rd position.
The Bodine brothers having a good run here tonight. Yeah. Their brother Todd had an awfully good run last night. Won the first race.
Yep. And then right behind Jeff is Ricky Rudd, who set the early pace here at Bristol. Quaker State Buick, Ford, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
I've called Hud Strickland's car a Buick forever, so.
Oh, boy. Now Derek Cope is up on the high side. Here comes Kyle Petty below him, and Mark Martin.
Kyle is running 5th, Mark Martin running 6th.
We can see the damage to the left rear of the car. He crashed early on with Sterling Marlin. His car seems to be running okay. Here's Mark Martin, one of the better cars earlier on, and Alan Kwiatkowski. Also, Darrell Waltrip made that late pit stop. He didn't like the set of tires that he had on. I was a report from the pits. He went in and lost that track position to get 4 tires that he had more confidence in.
That's Ted Musgrave in 55 that everybody is passing. Ted is shown in 14th position. He is a lap down.
There again, finally got by Rusty Ross. As we're watching this, Davey Allison is still on the inside of the racetrack slowly. There's Harry.
There's Hut Strickland right behind him in the car number 12. Hut was in the pit for quite a while. I'm not sure we ever reported that. He had a brake problem on the Ray Vestas entry, and so he was in the pits for quite a while. In fact, he's being shown now back in the 25th position.
Well, Harry won the most recent race, stretching his fuel mileage at Michigan International Speedway. And how about next weekend when we go to Darlington for the annual Labor Day event? Harry Gant is the defending champion there. But the man of the weekend will undoubtedly be Davey Allison, because he can win the Winston Million if he wins at Darlington next Sunday. And we'll have live coverage at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
$1 million if Davey Allison in the 28 car. It hasn't been done but once. That was 1985 when Bill Elliott won it.
And the guy who did that was the points leader currently, Bill Elliott.
And Elliott is currently running in 9th position. Kenny Schrader was up beside him trying to take that away, but he couldn't make it stick.
Here's a Fram Field summary. There is Kulwicki. Darrell Waltrip. You can see them there 7th and 8th.
Earnhardt in 11th place, but he's not far from going a lap down.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hate to wrestle that thing for 200 laps with that power steering.
Oh, man. Ernie Irvan, 157 laps down. He's back out there. Davey is also back out there.
Yeah, he stayed in the car.
Yeah.
I thought maybe while they were stopped for that long of a period of time that Bobby Hillin might get in it, but Davey stayed in.
And here's the pass for position as Waltrip takes over the 7th spot from Alan Kulwicki.
You know, Ned, that's why Alan Kulwicki stayed out of it.
Whoops.
Uh-oh, 25 in the...
Let's go. Oh, we have a crash in front of him is the reason everybody was slowing down. A car up against the wall. I can't see the number. It could be Ted Musgrave.
It's a white car. It's either Jimmy Means or Ted Musgrave.
And there's the leader coming down.
And Dale Earnhardt did not get lapped.
So this caution will be a break for him.
55.
No, it's Musgrave. Yeah, I thought it was. Ted Musgrave, who was running in 15th position, has made contact with the 4th turn wall.
That's unusual. You don't see that Musgrave go in too much trouble.
No, he's had a good record this year.
I'm sure Ray DeWitt is saying, my goodness.
Pits are open. Here comes Gant, Brett, Jeff. John Kernan is there with Harry.
Andy Petrie and the crew are hoping to repeat their performance in the last pit stop when they changed 4 tires, made a chassis adjustment in 21.8 seconds to give their driver Harry Gant the lead. Already the right side tires are on. Jack going under, going up, left side's going on. Looks like another very fine pit stop. You've got Harry Gant on the top of your screen, Brett Bodine on the bottom. Harry is already away, and Brett Bodine is pitting farther down pit road. He's still on. Left side's going on the Brett Bodine car. Bodine still in. Harry making his way down pit road. Remember, 35 miles an hour. Bodine is now out.
But John Kernan, the guy that beat all of them out on the front pits, was Jeff Bodine. And now let's go back to the pits, Jerry Punch and Earnhardt's pits.
And a big break for Dale Earnhardt, who was about to go a lap down to Harry Gant. They have put the hood back down. They put the power steering, alternator belt on. You hear the crowd roaring in the second gear and pulls away. And sometimes it just pays to be lucky on the short track. Earnhardt, who had a problem early on, got a break with the caution flag. The car was beginning to sputter, and it wouldn't have lasted much longer running only on the battery.
Well, let's not forget about Dale, because he is on the lead lap. Watch the top of your screen. There's Musgrave spinning.
And I don't see anybody around him that would have had any contact.
And this was behind Ted, and watching everybody hit the brakes.
There we see Schrader running in the back of Bill Elliott, and Darrell Waltrip stopped his car, practically stopped his car anyway.
The 8th caution flag of the evening for Ted Musgrave and the visit with the wall in turn number 4. Earnhardt in again. They're trying to reconnect those pins and send them back out.
You want to argue about that?
Yeah, I do.
Musgrave looks like he's dragging the chain. Look at Harry get that fire.
No, not according to Lynn.
Right. From Jimmy Hensley's in-car camera, the Phillips 66 in-car camera, we watch the leader of the race ahead. That is Darrell Waltrip. He did not make a pit stop on this most recent caution period. Now remember, he did make one a few laps ago, giving up a lot of track position, but now he's got it back.
Dale Earnhardt now, they've got the belts back on his car, so he does have power steering and an alternator.
He's trying to work up through traffic. There he is, right ahead of Derek Cope. And Jerry Punch can update us from pit road.
Let me update a little bit. They were able to get the power steering belt back on, but they do not have the alternator belt on, so they're running with battery only. They could not get the alternator belt back on, but they got the fans going, and he does have power steering, so they're going to have to roll the dice and hope maybe he can make it the rest of the way on only the battery.
He's in 11th place right now as Davey Allison comes in once again. Davey crashed earlier. He's out there just trying to get as many points as he can. Running back in 28th position, and now a good battle. Brett Bodine and Harry Gant for second, and there's Ken Schrader with them.
That's Jeff Bodine, who's keeping track now, 15 car.
And the car leading that group is Bobby Hamilton, and as we told you on Speed Week tonight, Donnie Allison has joined that team in a consulting capacity.
Jeff Bodine did not change tires, did he, Ned, on that pit stop?
If he did, they only changed 2, Benny, because he came out of the pits very quick. He might have just did a gas and go.
The car sideways as he comes off the corner. Harry Gant changed all 4 tires, so he's a little bit faster than Jeff Bodine right now, but he's having trouble getting by. Meanwhile, behind, here comes Brett Bodine. Take that spot away. Rudd's on the inside of Schrader.
And while all these guys are battling for position behind, Darrell Waltrip has things to himself in the lead.
Here's Harry on the inside. He's got to run.
And he does it. Gant goes to second.
We understand that Jeff Bodine did not change tires. He only took on gas today. Last time around we saw Dale there. We see Davey Allison going out of the pits. The last time we saw Dale Jarrett going out, he cut another tire down. And they're going to schedule pit stop. So the not changing tires looks like
Once again, the Bodine brothers are running together. Harry goes inside of Bobby Hamilton. Here comes Jeff.
Red car is Jeff, the green car is Brett.
Let me write that down. Okay. Red. No,
green,
Brett. Okay.
So they've got Bobby Hamilton on the outside where they want him. They got him right where they want him.
Yep. Here's Kulwicki and Kyle Petty. They are 8th and 9th.
Well, if Kulwicki could finish in the top 10 net, he'd feel like he stole something nice.
Well, it's certainly not the car he won with here a year ago and in the spring. He was dominant in both of those races, especially in the spring of this year. And you just don't know if it. I assume it takes a different setup for this concrete, and especially for the radial tires than in the past, and maybe just missed it.
Allen was trying to become the first driver since Dale Earnhardt to win 3 in a row. Dale did it in '87 and '88.
But of all those wins, you were talking about Darrell Waltrip a little bit ago. He won like 7 in a row here at Bristol.
Yep.
There's the brothers going at it. The green Bodine, Brett, is on the inside of the red Bodine, Jeff. come up on Davey Allison, and Jeff might pinch Brett down on the inside of the track. Let's see what he does.
He'll let him go ahead, surely.
And Davey just got out of the way. No, Brett, I believe Brett catching just a little bit coming off that corner.
Yep. Boy, Davey is just having a terrible evening. Now he's shortened the car up on the front end. Caution period number 9 is upon us as Allison's car is stopped here on the main straightaway. Let's look at it again.
There they are coming off of turn 4, and they come up on Davey. Davey tries to get out of the way. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard to tell
if he touched him or not. It was hard to tell.
Maybe this angle will help. I don't think so.
I don't think he touched him. I think with the spoiler, no spoiler on the back of the car, I think when he turned it, the back end just came around. Here's one more angle. Let's see if we can see. No, I don't think
so. Don't believe it did. Nope.
Nope. No contact. Darrell Waltrip is in. Here's John Kernan.
It's a 4-tire change for Darrell Waltrip. His crew is timing Harry Gant, seeing that Harry was gaining a little bit faster. Remember, Harry did come in, change 4 tires on that last pit stop. Right sides are on, left sides are going on. Several cars did stay out, including Brett Bodine. Harry Gant out, Darrell Waltrip down pit road. Darrell is away finally.
And of course, Jeff Bodine also came in. He was not doing so well with not taking on tires the last time. Ken Schrader in, Earnhardt back in. You can see his car there at the end of pit road. And Bill Elliott coming in on the backstretch.
Wonder why Bill Elliott is pitting back there, because he qualified 19th, and they only had 18 spots on the front, so he had to pit on the back. Decided disadvantage to being back there because all the cars on the front get to pit, and then you got to go in pits after that, so you got to restart behind them.
169 laps to go in this race, as we are under the 9th caution period of the evening at Bristol International Raceway. ESPN Speed World tonight at the Bud 500 at Bristol International Raceway. We're under our 9th caution. Davey Allison's car is just now being dragged off the racetrack. He is with Jerry Punch.
Bobby has climbed down to the car, walked back here across the wall, getting a nice cold drink. Davey, it's been an unbelievable night for you.
Well, Jerry, you know, to start with, over there in turn 3, I lost it getting in the corner and the car backed in the wall. And, you know, I hate it for these guys. They've worked awful hard. We were running good. We were going to come out of here with a decent finish tonight. And I just messed up. And then we're out there riding around just trying to stay out of everybody's way. And I saw Jeff and Brett, those guys coming behind me. And I tried to move over and get out of their way coming off turn 4. I hit the apron and lost it again. I just having a heck of a night.
Winston Million next week. Let me ask you first, is the car fixable?
I don't think so this time. It pushed the oil cooler back into the left front tire, and you know, we're far enough down now that if we went back out, we wouldn't gain anything anyway. So
thoughts after turn to the Winston Million coming up at Darlington?
Well, I think I'm gonna go home and regroup and get with these guys, you know, and try to figure out what it's going to take to get myself back going again, because you know, I was off a little bit tonight, and I made the mistakes. I got to go get better.
Davey Allison able to smile even through adversity here at Bristol. Gentlemen.
Davey Allison, quite a competitor. He showed it on more than one occasion. His race here at Bristol tonight is over. Back in a moment. Just as you rejoined us on lap 340, the green flag comes out and we are back to racing. Brett Bodine is the leader of the race, followed by Ricky Rudd. Now Rudd is the leader.
And here comes Rusty Wallace trying to get that lap back, still trying to get that lap back.
And a crash out of, Harry Gant has crashed here on the main straightaway.
Let's see.
How about that?
Yeah, Rusty's going to race him back. Harry down on the middle of the racetrack. There's a groove up there. They can race back. Everybody else should slow down.
And out in turn number 2, Alan Kowicki and Mark Martin have spun. And Rusty did not, as you indicated, get the lap back.
And Mark Martin has some damage, some heavy damage to the rear of his car. He is backed in the fence pretty good, it looks like. And look at the sparks. Oh, the front's banged up as well.
He's got damage all over the place. Now this is the incident here on the main straightaway involving Harry Gant. Watch the back.
It looks like he and was that Ernie Irvin down there in car? No, Michael Waltrip. I believe the yellow car just got together a little bit and sent him spinning around.
Harry is still parked right there. His car hasn't moved.
I think the rear end is really pushed back. It looks like sitting there as we see him coming off of the turn here.
Another angle.
You can see how it hits the wall. Boy, it gets up on the wall back there. Hard. And I think the rear end is certainly out of its normal position back there.
Now, while that was happening, out in turn number 2, this was going on between Kulwicki and Martin.
Now, Petty just
barely got through.
Man.
I don't see too much damage to Kulwicki's car.
Well, certainly 2 cars that were very capable of winning this race have sustained damage. Let's go to John Kernan.
Well, they're having a problem right now with the left front lug nut that fell off. Alan Kulwicki now pulling down. Like you said, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage, just some sheet metal damage. They changed 4 tires. That was the only adjustment they had made. We will talk with Paul Andrews here in a moment to see if there is more of a problem with Alan's car.
Harry Gant yeah, he was going around. 6 cars gone behind the wall, the Mark Barton car, but Harry Gant is coming into the pits. He did get his car running, and so maybe the rear end is not as far out of focus as I thought it was.
But there is Mark Martin, and they've jacked the Valvoline Ford up. Jerry, what's going on?
Basically damage on all 4 corners of the Valvoline Ford, and Martin, not a very happy camper sitting in the car as the crew now begins to scurry over the entire front of the car, trying to pull some of the sheet metal away from the front area where it is pushing the radiator back in toward the engine. Steve Meal now using an air chisel to try to chisel some of the bumper area away. You're taking a look down the front of the car, and you see it beginning to try to peel some of the sheet metal back away from the front. They're just now trying to assess the damage of the car, pretty much pushed in the front and the rear, while Mark sits patiently watching and waiting for the crew, trying to get him back on the racetrack.
And they've assessed the damage on Kulwicki's car and have found that there essentially isn't any. There is on Martin's car, and a lot of it. Well, we mentioned if Harry was going to have enough fuel to go the distance.
He's got no problem now.
Yeah.
Anyone else who wants to go the distance, I think, would be able to make it from here. Then we have seen several other drivers pit. Kyle Petty went in on the backstretch, and here they're pushing the Skoal Bandit behind the wall. Let's go back to the pits, Jerry Punch.
Mark still sitting in the car, pulling his helmet off. Marco, what happened out there, partner?
Jerry, I just messed up. I got into Allen or something there. I guess I just cut down when I shouldn't have. I couldn't see him.
You're running awfully well. Do you think the car is pretty heavily damaged? Can you get back out?
We're going to get back out, try to collect some points.
You know, it's amazing down here, guys. These drivers are being extremely honest about when they make a mistake. That's a sign of a true professional. And Mark Martin sits in the car here. We're under caution. Yes, believe it. Yellow fever here at Bristol International Raceway. And we're under caution once again. Back with more short track action after this. Stay with us.
The points 135 behind Phil Elliott. And he was running 6-9 on
Field is down the backstretch, having completed only 1/2 lap of racing under green. Ricky Rudd is the man at the front of the field right now, with Sterling Marlin and Hut Strickland right behind him, trying to get a lap back. Second in the race is Jeff Bodine. Third, Darrell Waltrip. In 4th position is
Dale
Earnhardt, and then Schrader. And John Kernan is with Harry Gant.
Well, Harry has climbed out of the Skoal Bandit Oldsmobile. Harry, a lot of damage. Got some new trailing arms out there. What happened?
Well, lap car running inside of me going through the corner. They've been pretty tough all night.
How tough is the... It seems that you guys can have no problem. It seems like you guys can have no problem racing with each other. How was the track?
It seems okay. Our car run real good. The Skoal team has done a super job with the car. We're just kind of laying back, waiting to the license.
Well, there's Harry Gant. The crew is going to work on the car. They're going to replace the trailing arms and try and get him back out to run for points, because he was 3rd in points heading into the race tonight.
Well, we've already seen Davey Allison in trouble. Harry Gant Mark Martin, 5th in points, is behind the wall, so it is not going to be a fight for those at the front of the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings, with the possible exception of Bill Elliott, and he has hung right in there.
Yep, Bill just hanging right in there, currently running in, what, 9th position?
Yep, and we'll show you the Cram Field summary and give you an indication exactly where everyone's running. There you can see Elliott 9th.
And Kowicki
on the lead lap. Yep, and Kowicki is 8th.
So that's the only 2 cars in the top 5 that's having any kind of night at all.
Watching the battle for second position between Jeff and Darrell. Less than 150 laps to go.
By the way, I want to take this opportunity to say, oh, here comes Waltrip on the inside. A very special hello to a longtime Winston Cup competitor, Tommy Gale. Dick Maycall said he's in the hospital up in Pennsylvania, so Tom, if you're listening, get out there soon and come see us.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
And we also want to pay special thanks as Walter did get the position, second from Jeff Bodine. We want to thank 38 Special for their help in putting our Open together for the show. We know they're watching. They're big race fans down in Key West, Florida.
Hud Strickland off the pace slow going down the back straightaway in the Revestis Chevrolet.
And he went off the pace right in front of Darrell Waltrip. He started off the turn 2. Hud got out of the way pretty quickly. Waltrip had to go very high to get around him.
Darrell's dragging something. Is he dragging something there?
Well, I noticed a moment ago he certainly some sparks coming out of the car there a moment ago, but
I think that's a piece of aluminum in the left rear of that car that he's dragging. Let's see, yeah, he's dragging a piece of aluminum or something on the left rear.
A little bit earlier he'd been hit in that. You can see the left rear quarter panel behind the wheel there that bent up a little bit.
Our congratulations to Chester Klein from Winsboro, North Carolina, today's winner of the beautiful Chevrolet Lumina and the Gillette Halfway Challenge. He named Darrell Waltrip as the leader at the halfway point. If you want to enter the contest for next week's Mountain Dew Southern 500 at Darlington, write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida 33731, 2246. You got to be 18 or over, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, September the 5th to be eligible for next week's Gillette Halfway Challenge. Tune in at 1 o'clock next Sunday for the Mountain Dew Southern 500.
There's a 7 car out in the Kowicki trying to get by Kyle Petty. He makes the pass. Takes that spot away from the mellow yellow Pontiac.
And you're looking at 4 positions there. Ken Schrader currently in the 5th position. Then Brett Bodine is 6th. Alan Kowicki and then Kyle Petty. All racing
right behind them in the Budweiser Ford.
5th through 9th.
There's old Bill. Still doesn't have a scratch on his car. And looky here at this. Darrell Waltrip has just about caught Ricky Rudd.
He has indeed, as Rudd has Sterling Marlin right in front of him. Waltrip closes in.
Marlin got around Rudd a while back to get one of his laps down. He was 2, but now he has to put the pressure back on because Darrell Waltrip is there.
So it's Rudd, Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and Kenny Schrader in the top 5 currently.
Last time Darrell won a race here was in '89. Last time Darrell won a race was at Pocono earlier this year. He was running that high groove earlier in the race and now doesn't seem to like it.
No, his car's not working up there nearly as well, but it's working on the inside.
Yes, it is. There's Waltrip, and he takes the lead.
And Kyle Petty's slow. Did he and Rusty get together coming off turn 4?
No, he seems to be back up to speed now, but
we'll take a replay. Here's Rusty and Kyle Petty right side by side. He and Alan Kowicki got together.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. And Kyle Petty, what a great job he did in saving that car.
There's one of those situations, Bob, you were talking about earlier. The car got completely sideways, and he was able to hang on.
A year ago, that car would have gone on the ground.
It would have been gone.
Yep.
So that cement seems to have an advantage in that respect. I believe we'll hear some drivers be complimentary after this race tonight.
Well, you got to take your hat off to Larry Carrier, the owner of this track, because he knew that he had a problem with the asphalt that just would not hold under the weight of the car and the speeds, and so he knew he had to do something, and he came up with this idea of concrete, and yeah, I think it will be applauded in the days ahead.
Well, Clay Earls, the folks up in Martinsville, did that originally, 10 years ago, I guess.
In the turns, yeah.
In the turns, but never has it been done on banks like this. Martinsville bank's about 8 or 10 degrees.
Darrell Waltrip has fought his way to the front, and our Big A Auto Parts on-track interval will document that, comparing him and Ricky Rudd, who was the leader from lap 358 to 362. Darrell cut the interval from 1.7 seconds on lap 358 down to 0.6 on lap 362 before he took over the lead from Ricky Rudd.
Mark Martin's back on the track now, but many laps down.
There is Mark Martin. A lot of damage on all four corners of that car, but Mark is out there trying to complete as many laps as he possibly can. We're 374 laps into the 500 lap Bud 500 at Bristol.
It's a piece of aluminum. We talked about it there a little bit ago. Yeah.
Jeff Bodine not doing too shabby.
Working on Rudd.
That's unbelievable. The engine's coming from the same place.
But did Rudd stop on that last crossing? Probably he'd be 20 laps short. Not getting that good mileage.
Darrell must really be riding right now.
Okay. We are back at Bristol, and this sign shows a lot of class and a lot of ingenuity on somebody's part. Look how they have put the ESPN letters together with East Tennessee send hope and prayers to everyone needing help due to Hurricane Andrew. And we certainly back up that statement and hope that everything goes well in the days ahead as the people of South Florida put their property and their lives back together.
You certainly have to feel for all those people that lost their homes.
That was an unbelievable situation there.
Yeah, those of us who don't live down there cannot imagine how bad it was and is, but we do certainly think about you.
Looky here, old Dale Earnhardt is back in the race.
Earnhardt is back.
He has caught Jeff Bodine and trying to take that third spot away, and Bodine had caught Ricky Rudd, so I think if Earnhardt can get in front of Bodine, he'll be able to pass Rudd.
While we're watching that, Brett Bodine was going backwards as Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott got around him.
There see Kyle, Bill, and Brett Bodine.
Points leader Bill Elliott and Brett Bodine.
Elliott's in 8th place, so good top 10 finish.
Yep, he's going to extend the points lead even further over Davey after this race. Allison is out. Finished 29th unofficially, and if the race ended right now, There will be a 94-point spread between the two as we go to Darlington and the Mountain Dew Southern 500 next Sunday afternoon.
But Bill has moved into 8th now once he moved around Brett Bodine, so that would add 4 more points to him, so it would be 98 points.
And there's the leader.
It looks like Darrell Waltrip is really riding right now, just taking it easy.
Car seems to be working perfectly for him, and he's able to take it easy and still pull away.
Yeah, that's right. He's taking it easy and maintaining the distance between himself and Ricky Rudd.
Second, third, and fourth here. Rudd, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt.
That battle seems to have really stabilized. I don't know if the cars are just that even or the guys are exhausted. They almost look like the guys are just exhausted.
Well, they got to be tired, but I'm sure as many caution flags as we've had here tonight, that has helped them tremendously.
Yep, they have had a chance to relax on occasion. And they only have a little over 100 laps to go now. 391 on the board.
When you're tired in a race car, 10 laps is a long way.
I'm surprised that we still have 9 cars in the lead lap this deep into the race.
21 car of Morgan Shepherd has had an up and down evening. He currently runs in 14th position, 2 laps down. Dick Trickle has also had an up and down evening. He's in 26th position and is numerous laps down and is still carrying our Ford telemetry.
He's still running 128 miles an hour.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all. And that's, is that Musgrave in front of him with the rear end tore up?
Yeah, I think it is.
Tore up so bad you can't see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Ted had to spend a good bit of time in the pits after he hit the wall, so he's a number of laps down himself. In fact, he's in 22nd position, some 22 laps behind the leader.
Jimmy Hensley still running, carrying our Phillips 66 in-car camera. Jimmy is, let's see if we can find him. 10th. Yeah.
He's just 1 lap down.
Not a bad run.
Oh. Hensley. I like that car with the yellow stripe on the bottom of it much better than before.
Yeah, it shows up a little better. Another Napa Field summary. Boy, they sure don't look like 36-degree banking when you're going that speed.
They look flat as they can be. And from a race, inside a race car, they look flat as well, Bob.
Yes, they do. I remember Daytona. The race there is 31 degrees, and boy, you go into that, and it looks as flat as the floor. We didn't have in-car cameras to prove that back then. You could tell people that, but they wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. You drove here, I would imagine, when they were 22 degrees.
Yes, yes. It was banked its current degree after I quit racing. And thought 22 degrees was pretty high bank for a half-a-mile track.
There's the second place car, Ricky Rudd. Jeff Bodine is third, and Earnhardt trying to get alongside. No, didn't make it.
Now, Earnhardt, the report was they put the belt back on the power steering, but it's still on the alternator.
Well, they went back in again. They might have.
Maybe they did.
I don't know. I really don't know if they've got a belt on the alternator or not.
400 laps complete.
And you ask why do they need an alternator? That's to keep the battery full of juice to run the fans, the pumps, the cooler rear end, the transmission. Also, the ignition requires a tremendous amount of juice from the battery.
And Gary says that they're only got power steering back, but they don't have the alternator back. So you're right, that it's draining a lot of power off of that battery.
Second, third, fourth. Rudd is second. Jeff Bodine third. He can finish there, as you can see, equal his best finish of the year.
Yep, Jeff has not won one this year yet. Now they move around Richard Petty. Richard is 16th. his final performance at the Bristol High Banks.
And that camera looks like the cars get out of shape as they come off that fourth corner.
It's a good angle on that camera down low there off the 4. Rudd is also not won in 92. Best finish at 3rd. Now Jeff to the inside of Ricky, but no. It's a good little battle. It's been that way for several laps now.
It's a great battle. And meanwhile, Darrell Waltrip is...
He's saying, go ahead, guys. Battle it out.
Please, whatever you do, just keep on battling because I'm riding around and enjoying the evening air.
And he's got about a full straightaway advantage now on second place.
We have no traffic at the moment. Just ride easy.
For second, third, and fourth, there is Darrell Waltrip, who is the leader, with now 92 laps left in the Bud 500.
Hey, guys down the pits, is there any word about fatigue down there in the drivers?
Come back, Vinny, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what?
Is there any word down there about driver fatigue?
Haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything either.
Okay.
In fact, I've heard the track apparently feels pretty smooth to some of these guys in the last little bit. I asked Dave, he said, hey, it felt pretty smooth to him. Except when he was spinning sideways.
Yeah. A couple of cars out there that look like the drivers are pretty gone.
Well, it hasn't led the race today.
No. Richard? Okay. Darrell Waltrip just continues to circulate, putting a lap there on his brother Michael. He leads the Bud 500 at Bristol Raceway in Tennessee. 416 laps have been completed. Back to second place, and you can see that there's quite a bit of racetrack between first and second. There is Ricky Rudd, followed closely by Jeff Bodine and then Dale Earnhardt. And Jerry Punch has a comment on Rudd's strength.
You know, in the past few years, a number of drivers have really gotten involved with serious exercise and conditioning programs. One of those is Ricky Rudd. He said, you know, where it really pays off is the last 100 laps at a racetrack like Bristol, because that's when everyone else gets real tired, and you're in shape, and you've got a shot at possibly stealing a win because you work out and you're in great physical condition. And this could pay off in these last 85 laps for Rudd tonight.
We've talked all race long about how physically demanding this racetrack is, and you gotta be healthy as far as physical conditioning is concerned to withstand all the punishment.
Another guy is Darrell Waltrip. You know, he said he did not realize how bad, out of shape he was until he broke his legs. And he started doing the therapy for the broken leg, and he discovered, hey, I am really out of shape. And he has, since then, has started a training program, and he is much stronger now than he was a year ago, a little over a year ago.
Yep, in
I guess it was 2 years ago he broke his leg. It was last July he slipped in Talladega. So it's 2 years ago that he's been training and getting with the weights and eating right and doing the things that you got to do to run a 500-lap race at Bristol.
Right now, Darrell enjoys a 5.5-second lead over Ricky Rudd. It stayed that way for about 4 or 5 laps now.
By the way, Benny, are you still on your seafood diet?
Yeah.
You see food and you just can't resist it.
Everything I see, I eat. That's right.
I love seafood, but I do it a different way. Jerry Fudge?
You know, before the race, Benny, some of the McLaurin guys down here in Ernie Irvin's crew were telling me that you worked out the other morning, that you lifted at least 12 or 13 biscuits off a plate at one time and shoved them in your mouth. So you're in some kind of conditioning program too, aren't you?
Jerry, everyone exaggerates. I only ate 6 biscuits. Larry McClure's mother invited me over for breakfast the other morning.
Oh, boy.
How could Hetty May invited me over? I had 6 biscuits, a couple eggs, and some sausage, and it was wonderful.
Man, oh man. Brett Bodine was leading at one point, ran up in the top 5 for a long time, and now goes a lap down. Brett Bodine loses a lap. He is in 9th position, so that means now that 8 cars are on the lead lap.
DW.
The attrition really hasn't been that bad tonight compared to last night's Grand National race.
8 cars on the lead lap. Ned talked about that a moment ago, and there was horror stories. We talked about the lead car being 3 laps in front of the second place car. And there we see Brett Bodine still on the race. Bobby Hamilton still running well, the Country Time Oldsmobile.
Bobby Hamilton is currently shown in the 21st position. Right behind him is the 21 car of Morgan Shepherd. He is 14.
There's Harry Gant right down on the inside of Morgan, going back straight and back out on the racetrack.
And it's been a long time in the pit area.
Michael Walker, Pennzoil Pontiac, had to go to a backup car. He's currently running 15th. He's 3 laps down. Jimmy Means, the Taco Bell Pontiac. He's in 27th spots currently.
And Ernie Irvin, who is many laps down as a result of a spin early in the race in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, just out there riding, trying to get as many points as he can.
There's a second place car, Ricky Rudd, the Tide Chevrolet. Third place, Jeff Bodine, Motorcraft Ford, and Earnhardt. There he is, the GM Goodrich Chevrolet. Just a couple of car lengths back. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
For the Ernie Irvin fans, he is currently in 29th position.
The 66 car of Jimmy Hensley is in 10th position, just a lap down.
Kenny Schrader, the Kodiak Chevrolet, is currently 5th.
He's had a good, consistent run tonight. I don't think he's ever been out in the top 10 for any length of time.
Stayed right there. And Kyle Petty, car number 42, the mellow yellow Pontiac. Kyle in the 6th position.
There's the Interstate battery car, Dale Jarrett. He spun earlier on with Sterling Marlin. Dale is in 17th spot. He's about 7 laps down. Jimmy Spencer, the Food City Ford. This is the Dick Moroso entry. The first time in Winston Cup racing for a pretty good while. He goes by Dale Jarrett. Let's see, the 20 car
is in 20th position, Benny. He had to go in for a little while after he hit the wall.
That is Derek Hope, who has also had contact with the wall, but is in 10th position.
And you can see he's had contact on the inside of the car. Of course, that's when he got into the wall.
Yep.
Bill Elliott.
Wally Dallenbach, Keystone Ford. And let's see, where is he?
About 819?
19, yes.
Here's Jim Sauter in the 71 car.
Jim is running 18th. 7 laps.
Alan Kowicki, the Hooters Ford, is running in the 7th spot. His car number matches his position on the racetrack. There's the King, Richard Petty, still out there. And Richard is 16th. He's 5 laps down to our leader, Darrell Walter. Rusty Wallace, Miller Jigglycraft Pontiac.
Never did get that lap back. He's still a lap down and in 11th position. Jerry?
You
You know, there was some speculation earlier that there was a possible Ford in the Rusty Wallace shops back in Mooresville, North Carolina. They confirmed it today. There is indeed a Ford in the Penske South shop. Unfortunately, it's not a T-Bird. It's a 1929 flathead roadster that co-owner Don Miller took to Bonneville last week and set up a land speed record. Get this, guys, with a flathead roadster, Ford engine, 152.908 miles an hour. It puts in the old mark by some 11 miles an hour. So yes, there's a Ford there, but it's about 60 years old.
How about that? There's Bill Elliott, and he's in 9th position, and not too far from being lapped.
Oh, this would be take all chances of winning out there. It would take all chances out, but it would certainly be a major setback. Yeah. Waltrip's on the inside, and he's got him.
Ooh, they get together a little bit.
They did touch. Yep.
Wow. Apparently it didn't hurt either one of them, but could have been a rough situation there.
Napa Field summary.
There's Richard Petty on the inside as these guys go right by him.
It looked like Darrell was hurt. We'll keep our eye on him.
I think he thought he had Bill cleared coming off of the turn, and he just slid right back up into the groove, and Bill still had to run into his Ford up there.
And now Darrell Waltrip will attempt to put another lap on Rusty Wallace. We'll be back with more live coverage of the Bud 500 from Bristol International Raceway.
Sorry, Benny, didn't mean to step all over you.
No problem. I probably didn't have nothing important to say anyway.
Have you already forgot?
Yeah.
What do you think a while ago? Don't you think what it looks like?
Hey guys, I just wanted to get that story in about the flathead Ford. Don Miller said, yeah, I wanted to confirm there's a Ford in our shop because we have a little fun with it, but that's a true story. He is so proud of that record for a flathead Ford to go 100 and almost 155 miles an hour. So getting that home was pretty important. He's been awfully good to us over the years. Trying to get through track tracks there.
We got some video on that, Jerry, for Speed
really?
Week. But yeah, hopefully we'll get it on next week, and we'll reiterate that. Yeah.
Ooh, Earnhardt got a little bit loose.
The NASCAR Winston Cup Bud 500 from Bristol International Raceway has 51 more laps to go, with Darrell Waltrip leading our live ESPN Speed World coverage.
Leading handily.
Yes.
Now he's put enough of them a lap down that there are only 7 left in the lead lap. Alan Kowicki running 7th. He's about 2 seconds out in front of Darrell Waltrip at the moment, so he's safe for a little bit from going a lap down.
Darrell Waltrip finished 25th in this event, in the event that was held here in the spring, is looking to add victory number 12 here at Bristol. Many people forget that Harry Gant pulled off that outstanding victory at Michigan just 2 weeks ago, but this guy finished second. King Richard Petty, 16th. 6 laps to the rear of the field, but hanging in there on what was otherwise a very rough and demanding racetrack, at least at the beginning of this event.
Yes, he is hanging in there, Bob, and you know, he's 55 years old. It's got to be tough on him running out there in this kind of a racetrack. And we talked to him yesterday about, does he have a better race car than he is a driver right now?
Well, I think that the boys have really done a super job on the cars. The motors and stuff are just getting better and better, and the whole team, pit stops, all that stuff. I think they're getting better, and I'm going the other way. No, I don't think that I'm near as capable of driving a race car as what I used to be. You know, it's not that I'm not capable of driving it. My focus is so much different now than what it used to be. So even when I'm running a race, I think I'm completely focusing, but I know I'm not. I don't know really how to explain the deal. I guess that what I've been trying to do this year to stay out of trouble is one thing, but you know, I'm trying to enjoy what I'm doing. I mean, you know, if I get to race with somebody and I can do it pretty comfortable, I race with them. If I'm gonna have to strain too much, I sort of let them go. I'm not as competitive. I guess that's what it winds up being. The bottom line, I think the team is probably the best it's been the last 4 or 5 years, and the driver's probably the worst it's been, so still showing up to be about the same.
We've heard some honest comments tonight from many drivers. Mark Martin and Davey Allison both admitted they made a mistake on the racetrack, and now Richard Petty with some brutally honest comments about his ability in comparison to his car and the race team. I think that does say that whoever is picked to take over that car next year may have something to look forward to.
I think they have a good team. They are definitely coming back and are running much better. He's qualifying better this year, although he didn't qualify that good for this particular race, but he's had some good qualifying runs this year and has had some good runs at several racetracks. So yes, I think the team is a good team.
Jerry Punch with another comment on the current leader of the race, Darrell Waltrip.
Before I comment, we might congratulate Jake Elder on being named the Western Auto Mechanic of the race here. He's the crew chief for Darrell Waltrip, and what a job they have done here. Now, by their calculations, they may be 1 or 2 laps short. It's going to be very, very close. Talking about the car number 17 of Darrell Waltrip on fuel. They have told Darrell, they've given him the figures, let him make the decision. Darrell said, I'm going to try to conserve as much fuel as I can. They also know that the 5 car and the 15 car cannot make it. Both will have to come in with about 12 to 14 laps to go. So it's up to Darrell Waltrip to be able to save enough fuel to win it here at Bristol.
That's interesting. I would have thought that most of it could have gone, but they do use a lot of fuel on this racetrack. They turn those engines a lot of RPM.
There are 38 laps to go. So this race is not over yet, despite the fact that Darrell has a commanding lead at this point. He has to have to stop for fuel.
That means he's going to have to go all the way, because he's got a half a lap. And if they all have to stop, he should be able to comfortably stop and put in a splash of fuel and go on. I would think that he would get as far as anyone else on fuel. Look at the second place battle is heating up again. This is Morgan Shepherd's car right behind him. Ricky Rudd, Jeff Bodine, also Dale Earnhardt.
Right behind this battle is the 66 car of Jimmy Hensley, and we'll watch now this 3-car battle for position up front.
Well, we had that trio covered there, didn't we, from the front and the rear?
That's right. Now Jeff passes Morgan. Here comes Dale.
In the meantime, Kenny Slater has just about caught this group of cars. He was about a half a straightaway behind, and he's now only a couple of car lengths behind. I thought he was.
Yeah, he is. He's right behind Hensley.
And here, Alan Kawicki about to go a lap down from Darrell Waltrip. By Darrell Waltrip, he put a lap down.
Alan is 7th. So the Tide crew gets ready for a possible pit stop by Ricky Rudd.
They're getting what they were doing there was getting their squirt can full of gasoline so they can squirt some gas in the carburetor if the 5 car runs out.
Okay. Ricky Rudd himself will make the decision as to whether he will come in for a fuel stop or try to go the distance. We're 30 laps from the end of the Bud 500.
Just about. He and Schrader, he got up beside a Schrader coming off the 4, and they just about lost it, but he held on.
Yeah, I said Schrader got that group of cars, and Kyle's got Schrader, so I missed that one. Man, Darrell's getting up off that corner, ain't he?
Sure is. That car's hit that. Cook coming in for his fuel.
Yep. Not much we can do except just watch this fuel battle. Yeah, there's only...
We got some good battles. I mean, the 5, 15, 3 and the 25 and 42.
Yeah, good race.
There's only 20-some laps to go, and that'll go by real quickly. Yep. Just about 10:30 Eastern Time, and you're watching live coverage of the ESPN Speed World Bud 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race from Bristol International Raceway. The leader is Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, and there are 24 laps to go in this event. Second place is Ricky Rudd in car number 5.
And he is 11 3/10 seconds behind, so Darrell continues to stretch his lead.
And that much interval on the racetrack. Right behind Ricky is the third place car of Jeff Bodine, followed by Dale Earnhardt, who is in 4th.
And the white car, Kenny Schrader, is in 5th, and Kyle Petty right on Schrader's bumper in 6th.
We do have some good battles on the racetrack, and the question is, how will the fuel mileage go? The word is that Rudd and Bodine and Earnhardt are all going to have to stop for fuel because they can't make it to the end. The question is, can Waltrip make it to the end?
Someone else, we talk about fuel mileage, Harry Gant, Darrell Waltrip, Bud Moore's cars and Motorcraft Ford that Jeff Bodine is driving normally gets good fuel mileage too.
Yep.
And
20 laps to go.
Up there in 4th place.
20 more laps. Phillips 66 in-car camera being carried by Jimmy Hensley. Just ahead of him is Earnhardt.
You know, it looks like Hensley's outrunning this group here the last few laps because we saw this picture about 15, 20 laps ago. He was a couple car lengths further back.
Jimmy's right there with him. Jimmy having a good run.
Yep.
Place.
Going to have his first top 10 finish if all goes as it is right now. He is running 10th. His best finish of the year so far has been a 13th at Martinsville. John Curtin has a report on Ken Schrader.
Hey guys, you all talking about the top 4. 5th place Kenny Schrader may not have to stop. It's going to be very, very close. But what else are they going to do? They're going to stay out there, see if they can go the distance and maybe pull out a win if Waltrip indeed does have to stop a few laps short.
I forgot about Schrader. He does get some great miles now. Earnhardt closes up right on the back bumper of Jeff Bodine.
Kyle Petty is...
What's Kyle dragging?
Oh, he's bottoming out or dragging something, sending up a lot of sparks there in the first turn.
Didn't drag anything going in 3.
I think he just got his wheels down on the pavement there for a little bit and it bottomed out with him.
I guess you're right because we didn't see anything that time.
He has really been working on Kenny Schrader.
And he is about to... Ooh, I thought he was going to...
Try it again. He got out. Here's Rudd coming in for his fuel. Jerry Punch is right there.
Last time by, he said it's starting to sputter. It's going to sputter. I'm coming in, so they jumped over the wall. And here's the Dodge Chevrolet. They don't want to kill the engine. You hear him revving the engine. They can't get the gas in. Now they finally got the nozzle in, and he is gone. 4.3 seconds, he's away.
Going very, very slowly down pit road, however. Now he begins to accelerate. That was slower than he could have gone down pit road. There is Waltrip passing by. Here comes Jeff Bodine in for a pit stop. Relinquishing 3rd position, Jerry.
And the Motorcraft crew will try to put a dash of fuel in Bodine's Ford Thunderbird. He's very gently moving the car down pit road. Remember, 35 miles an hour, but he is in a hurry. Headed back to turn 1, likewise in 4.3 seconds.
That's going to move Earnhardt up to 2nd place right now. and we have 11 laps to go.
Well, now, Earnhardt has never been a gas mileage.
Oh! Earnhardt went in on the apron of the racetrack and almost ricocheted off the 26 car. I don't think there was any contact there, but Earnhardt drove the thing way down on the line of the racetrack.
Some heads-up driving by Brett Bodine just to move up the racetrack and give him the room that he needed to dash in there.
Less than 10 laps to go now for Darrell Waltrip. There he is in turn number 3. This will complete lap 491. 9 to go.
And Jeff Bodine ended up with about a straightaway lead on Ricky Rudd in that fuel stop exchange. They both went in, spinning at the same time, and
Jeff really got in and out the pits very quick.
Waltrip still with a very comfortable advantage with 8 laps to go now. However, his team is there with the gas can if they need it.
They're ready. They've got it ready.
Dragging them from the left rear of the car.
Been that way for 150 laps or
Long
so.
time, yeah.
Just a piece of balloon. No problem with it. So.
And Jeff Bodine is off the pace down the front straightaway.
Ian Earnhardt battling side by side.
Well, we see Hensley going by.
Yeah, Jeff is off the pace. Significantly.
And he's coming back in the pits.
Yep. He's got a flat tire, apparently, and will bring the Motorcraft Ford in for a second stop here in about 5 laps. And so the very good run that Jeff Bodine had tonight is not going to show that way in the final standings.
Well, just 5 laps to go.
Yeah, just 5 to go for Darrell Waltrip. Now just 4 laps to go, 2 miles. Doesn't have enough fuel to go all the way.
I'll bet he'll make it.
Dennis Rader, we feel like he can go the way. He's still out there.
And
Kyle Petty's still on his bumper.
But what about Earnhardt?
He's still there.
Second. Yeah.
He's still there. He hasn't went in the pits yet.
2 laps to go for Darrell Waltrip. Next time around will be the white flag. And Darrell will have his second win of 1992. Going with his victory at Pocono. It'll be his 12th victory at Bristol International Raceway and his 7th win in the fall race, the night race. White flag is out. He's on his final lap. Less than a half mile to go now. Looks like the crew is celebrating already. They know he's got a 1. He could probably coast the rest of the way. Here's Waltrip off of corner number 4, and the checkered flag waves. Darrell Waltrip has won the Bud 500 at Bristol. Jay Gelder, the mechanic of the race, works his magic, takes Darrell to the victory. Second position goes to Dale Earnhardt. Third was Schrader. Fourth, Kyle Petty. And in 5th position was, I believe,
Alan Kulwicki.
Was it Kulwicki?
Alan Kulwicki finished 5th. Bill Elliott was 6th.
So he will definitely add to his points lead over Davey Allison, Gant, and the others. Darrell Waltrip pulls his car to the Union 76 flag. And let's go down to pit road.
Oh, very, very happy crew right here. Jake Elder getting congratulations all around. Well, Jake, not a bad night for you, mechanic of the race. You also win the race, a good running car. It wasn't just fuel mileage tonight that won it for you guys.
That's a good race tonight, and I'm glad to see Darrell win a race like this. The whole crew, too. They done a good job. Everybody done a good job tonight.
You guys apparently found something early on where you can work in that high groove. Was that the game plan going in here, that you figured you'd get up there and run as well as you did?
Well, yeah, we've been working on that all week up here. We can run high or low. It seemed like he could run a little bit better high and a good low.
Well, you see the big smile on Jake Elder. We'll let you go to victory lane now to visit with a very happy Darrell Waltrip.
And his Suitcase's first win as a crew chief since 1986 and his 53rd as a crew chief in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Darrell Waltrip wins at Bristol. We'll be right back. birthday boy wins.
Well, Swoboda, hello.
There's Leroy.
Yeah.
New Papa brings her
You know, it's in pretty good position at one time.
Okay.
The fire belt come off, and they lucky to got them back on. I couldn't drive it very good lapping, so you know the guys did a good job. They worked hard all night and they didn't give up. How about this, John?
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Yes! Yes!
Let's go talk to Jerry. I got him, dog. Man, I wish you'd show some money. Daryl, one more time. Give me some.
Darrell Waltrip in Victory Lane. A reminder that baseball tonight is coming up in just a few minutes. Let's go down now to our Kodak Gold Film Winner's Circle interview, and here's Dr. Punch.
And a tiny trophy it is. Darrell, I wish you would show some emotion. You danced on top of the car. You turned somersaults trying to get in here. Congratulations.
Honey, it's me again in Victory Lane with the, you know, for the kid, for Sarah, Caitlin, Kearns Waltrip. One time drove my heart out, baby doll. Drove my heart out for you.
Now wait.
Come closer. For you.
Oh, he's not happy a bit. Oh, spraying a little Gatorade. Let me ask you now. Wait a minute. You had Jessica. You won. Now you had Sarah, Caitlin, Kearns Waltrip. You won. What does that mean for Stevie at home?
Well, there's more rewards to having kids than I thought there was. No. It just means that I get really pumped up. I feel good, and Stevie's feeling good, and the baby's great. And you know, I just come here with a good attitude, and my team is so great, and they're doing a great job. Praise God for a good night, for a win. Oh, everything I could hope for. What a week. What a year. What a day.
And he certainly is excited, and rightfully so. An excited new father and a winner here at Bristol International Raceway as Darrell Waltrip picks up win number 2 for 1992.
And it was the 83rd win of his career for Darrell Waltrip. It comes under the lights at Bristol. We'll be back in a moment. Here are the unofficial results of the NASCAR Bud 500 here at Bristol. And while we look at the unofficial rundown, we'll remind you that baseball tonight is coming up in just a few moments with Tom Mees. He'll have all the details of David Cohn's first day with the Toronto Blue Jays, and of course all the action from the world of baseball tonight. Well, guys, I would have to say that the experiment in concrete racetracks has been a pretty darn good success.
Oh, I think so. I think that we'll hear a lot of favorable comments from the drivers. And, Benny, I don't think Darrell Waltrip looks pretty fresh when he gets out of that race car, so maybe it wasn't as tiring on them as we thought it would be.
No, I really thought it would be tougher than that, because usually Darrell Waltrip, when he's 1 year, he got out sitting on the ground doing the interview. He was jumping around like he was fresh.
Here are the points. Bill Elliott now has a 109-point advantage over Davey Allison, and the top 5, Kulwicki, by the way, moves back into 3rd. The top 5 are separated by 342 as we head for the Mountain Dew Southern 500 next Sunday.